You are the Apex Champions. You are the Apex Champions. You are the Apex Champions.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Thrustmaster GT Race. This evening, we have some seriously good action ahead of us around the Imola circuit. My name's Matthew Gallagher, and joining me, alongside me, is none other than Luke Crane. Luke, how are you feeling about tonight?
I'm good, mate. Thank you. Yeah, feeling good for tonight. We've, again, got some amazing pro drivers, plus some content creators that I'm sure the chat will know a lot of around Imola. A nice little warm-up for the Formula E happening this weekend coming up. So, yeah, it should be a good one.
Absolutely. A track that's not known for the easiest overtaking spots. We've got GT3 cars tonight. How do you see the mixture of content creators and pro drivers and how they'll be able to mingle together on track?
Well, hopefully, as someone who's got nothing to do with race directing or anything like that, carnage. But yeah, like you said, it's very difficult to make an overtake in GT racing in general, whether it be sim racing or indeed motorsport. So qualifying is going to be absolutely key. But yeah, I think we're going to see some desperation very early on, even though it's a 90-minute race. So I'm sure we're going to see cars facing the wrong way.
So you say a 90-minute race. Shall we look at the overview of the format? I think that would be a good start, just to look at what is coming up ahead tonight. So we have a 30-minute qualifying session, which is broken up into two 15-minute qualifyings. You have the content creators, and then you have the pro drivers. So that'd be interesting to see if there's a few very talented content creators. We know there are, and whether they can mix it with the pro drivers. And then the race, 90 minutes long, one mandatory pit stop, and the weather's optimal conditions. So we'll have no flooding, thankfully, which would be good, and we can get some serious racing action underway.
Absolutely, yeah. That one mandatory pit stop is going to be key, though. If you can save some fuel, then your pit stop can be a little bit shorter than anybody else's. I don't think any of the sharp end drivers will be changing their tyres today. I think they're going to go the full 90 minutes on the same set of boots. So yeah, if you can save a bit of fuel and have a bit of a shorter stop, you could put yourself, you could jump a few positions if you're a bit further back in the order. But if you're right at the front, you can maybe get yourself a nice gap to work with to go out there and win the race.
Now, for those of you watching along, content creators, I'm sure you know them. Let's take a look at the lineup. And Luke, if you run us through who we've got in the content creator category tonight.
Well, I'll have a go. We'll leave the number 46 out, though. I'm sorry, love 46. I'll try and get the name right. We've got David Sampson. We've got Jihad Naga, Julian Cesar Bueros. We've got Dickens and Goma. We've got Lyabov, let me try and say this properly. Ozaritz Skovskaya. There we go. Hopefully that's right. Probably not. We've then got Siggy Lentes. You may know him as HC Dizzy. We've got Amos Larito, Kyle Lowe, Fabio Gama, Eliza Indriani, and we've got Samir Foch, who will probably be one of those drivers that will be mixing it up with the pros.
Lovely stuff. And then if we then go straight to the pro drivers, where we're expecting the best driving from these talented bunch, take us through it, Luke.
Yeah, Tobias Pfeffer, one of the very fastest on ACC. It's as simple as that. We've got Lillian Derabacourt as well. We've got Batiste Jimenez, Dylan Tan. He is from the Asia-Pacific region, one of the very fastest in the Asia-Pacific region, along with Andika Rama Maulana. We've got Mathieu Bouquet, Lucas Congratel, Sasha Vazner. Then you've got Yaroslav Honzik. Everybody loves Yaroslav Honzik, fresh back from his Clio Cup adventures on the weekend. George Boothby, already seen a few people in the chat show support for George Boothby, again, one of the very best when it comes to ACC and in the world of sim racing. Also a Guitar Hero World Champion. We've then got Redwan Masoud for Thrustmaster Racing. Sammy Joe Abinarkle, also for Thrustmaster Racing. Lewis Rotters is there with Jacob Osterman, Grantas Caracas, and Chris Harteveld. So those are your pro drivers.
So a fully stacked field tonight, and they're not racing just for honour as much as they will all want to win anyway. We've got a prize pool that we need to take a look at, both for the pro drivers category and the content creators as well. So there's all to play for. We've got two classes, the pro and the am, and this is how it's broken down, Luke.
Yeah, we've got the pro class who can win some nice cash there. So you've got 1,250 euros for P1, 500 euros for P2, and then if you're in P3, you win 250 euros. For the AM class, or the content creator class, as it's being called today, they will win themselves a T818 plus custom plates and a Ferrari 488 GT3 Wheel rim for P1. If you finish in P2, you get yourself a Ferrari SF 1000 wheel, and if you finish in P3, you get a Ferrari 488 GT3 wheel. So lots of prizes in the offering. It's 2,000 euros worth of prizes for the pros, and for the AMs, it's the prize equivalent of about 1,500 euros. So lots of prizes on the line.
And for those of you watching, you can get involved as well. You can type !giveaway or scan the QR code to be in with a chance of winning a Thrustmaster T818 wheel, which is personalized as well. Okay, and we will be drawing the winner at the end of the stream. No waiting around. You will know if you've won by the end of this stream. So get involved in the chat or scanning the QR code, and you might well be getting that T818 wheel as well, which, Luke, I'm watching the chat to make sure you don't enter.
I may or may not have just scanned the QR code. I didn't know, promise, guys. I can't win, unfortunately. I'd love to, but I can't.
So I think it's now time to get a better understanding of Imola and go to Kamil Pawlowski, who's made a very, very decent track guide.
Hey, I'm Kamil Pawlowski, Thrustmaster Ambassador and ITB Racing Driver, and I would like to guide you through famous Italian Imola, the track for Thrustmaster GT Race event.
And let's dive into the hot lap with Ferrari 296 GT3 in Assetto Corsa Competizione using Thrustmaster T818 direct drive with Ferrari 488 GT3 Wheel add-on. The key to go fast on Imola is definitely perfecting the lines to use all the curbs as efficient as possible, without unsettling the car or exploiting the track limits. It's all about confidence, commitment and precision. Turn 1 is flat and pretty much non-existent, so let's already focus on the next one. Heading into turn 2, advise spotting the emergency exit between 100 and 200 meter board as a braking reference. Brake hard for the corner entry, stick to the right and attack the apex aggressively with quite a big angle. Use the inside curb with half of your car. With correct line and angle, you will not have to worry about the yellow sausage curbs. Similar rule with turn 3. You can use even a bit more curb, just don't go too wide as you need to position your car for turn 4 entry. You can tackle the corner optimally from the left side of the track with both great entry and exit speed. Just make sure you rotate the car early enough to attack again a lot of inside curb and especially avoid understeer on the exit to not touch the sand. It will slow you down every time. Approaching the 50 meter board for turn 5, tap the brake and downshift to third. Attack the curb and stay on the left as turn 6 is right after. Medium brake tap, downshift to second and take half of the curb. Early on the throttle and use all the track available, but make sure you will not touch the sand on the exit. Try to avoid oversteer on entries and find the perfect amount of curb the car allows you to take before losing balance, as it can bounce you off the track on these corners. Turn 7 is an uphill hairpin where you need to trial brake just a bit after the 50 meter board and downshift to first gear. Both U and V shape are effective there, so use what you prefer or adjust depending on your braking. Try to go back on the gas early, but with straight wheels to avoid traction control engagement as it's quite slippery there. Flat on the blind turn 8, stay on the right and brake on 50 meter board for turn 9. Don't clip the grass on the braking, attack a bit of the curb on the inside and go back early on the throttle. Watch out on the track limits on the exit as it's very easy to go wide there. Prepare for very difficult Acque Minerali. Technical combined section with downhill, uphill and track banking. Just before the 50 meter board, touch the brake pedal slightly, downshift and throw the car with high speed attacking the entry curb. Keep the car stable and minimize the steering inputs. Use the exit curb but don't go too wide. Trial brake and smoothly rotate the car to enter uphill turn 12. On the exit, avoid the yellow sausage curb as it invalidates the lap and slows you down. Turn 14 and 15 is the famous chicane, Variante Alta. It's where you can gain or lose most of your lap time on Imola. Brake hard when the curb on the left appears and enter the chicane with full commitment, cutting all the sausage curb. Lift the brake when going through the entry curb, but continue decelerating slightly to enter the second part of the chicane. Find the perfect line to fully cut through it, but watch out for both unsettling the car and getting the warning for cutting the track. Do not use the yellow sausage curb on the exit as they will unbalance the car and invalidate the lap. Final two corners, Rivazza section. Stick to the right and slam the brake pedal on 100 board. Downshift to second and classic rule here, attack most of the curb on the inside. For the final turn, touch the brake pedal slightly, rotate the car with a decent angle, attack the curb and go flat as early as possible. Watch out for oversteer on the exit and of course avoid contact with the sand on the exit, as even slight touch will cost you a lot of time.
I hope you enjoyed the guide through Imola and that you will find the tips and advices useful. And I would like to wish all the best to all competitors of Thrustmaster GT Race. Give a great show of clean, competitive racing and let the best driver win.
Amazing stuff there from Camille. I was taking notes. I don't know about you, Luke. We've actually got qualifying underway already. So interesting to see a few drivers already out there.
Yeah, 100%. I will say one thing. Kamil Pavlovsky, a beautiful man. I've known him for a very long time. He's a 2-time Project Cars world champion. But to make you feel better about yourselves at home, guys, that was his 8th lap. I saw it in the top left-hand corner. It took him 8 laps to get that lap in. So, you know, maybe there is hope for all of us yet. No, Kamil is very, very much one of the best sim racers in the world. On multiple platforms, he is very, very good indeed. But you're right, Matt, we're here out for qualifying. The content creators are out there first. We're on board here with Laurito in the number 69. Nice. And he's just done a 1:40.092. Across the line we go. Is there going to be any improvement, though? No, it doesn't look like this actually might be an outlap. So we might be starting a fast one here. So as it stands, the 2 favourites, I would say, from the content creators, and I believe we will see them racing with the pros. They'll be right up the sharp end. They're currently 1 and 2 in the content creators grid.
Yeah, there's a few, obviously, still warming up, getting the laps underway, but they've only got 15 minutes to really figure this out and get a lap on the board. We've got
4.5.
half of them. Yeah, not long at all to get a lap in, and we've got quite a few in the pits as well. So interesting to see Laurito and Foch, as you say, up there in first and second position. Will we see 39s? You'd imagine so. But Laurito, you know, very much well known in the sim racing world, as we see Foch there getting very aggressive on the curbs, was definitely taking notes from Camille's hot lap guide there, which I thoroughly enjoyed, by the way. Usually with track guides, it's just a hot lap. There were pauses, there were braking zones, and I mean, I reckon I could do at least a 1:47 now.
Yeah, they zoomed in and showed you the braking points that there's no chance we'd be able to hit. You can try and follow those braking points, guys, but yeah, you still end up shooting off into the gravel if you're a mere mortal like myself. Samir Fochten across the line. He's about to start another flying lap here, is the Latvian. I think we will see a 39 in the pro section. Whether we get down to sort of 39.7 or below that, I think it might be a bit more difficult. The track temperature right now is 28 degrees. So actually, it's not bad. It could be a lot hotter. So right now, we should see some very, very fast times. So we're now on board then with Jihad Naga, who's currently in 5th position in the Porsche. Nice to see loads of different manufacturers as well. Like we've got the Aston Martin currently leading, a couple of Ferraris in the top 3. Then we've got another Aston, a Porsche. We've got the Honda as well, with a BMW in the mix as well. So we've got 5 different manufacturers in our content creators mixing it together.
So Laurito and Foch having a bit of a gap to the rest of the field, it has to be said. But of course, 3rd place is still getting yourself a Ferrari 488 GT3 wheel, as Naga improves to 4th place and then stops and resets back to the garage. I was going to ask a question, actually. Do you know why some of the drivers are sat in the pits and not really out there with only a few minutes remaining?
It all depends on the rules and regulations, I would say. Like, if they've been told that they have to be in the pits by the time the 15-minute time is done, then that would be why. Because right now, you've still got 2.5 minutes to go out there and get an outlap in. And I'm assuming if you cross the line before the 15-minute mark, you get to finish that lap. So, yeah, I would say that they either aren't allowed to go out there and do another lap, or they just feel like they've done the maximum. There's nothing more they can really find. And in a 90-minute race, you'll find, especially with content creators, they're not going to be too worried about where they qualify, because there's going to be a lot of people watching their streams right now, kind of excited that there's going to be a lot of drivers for them to pass if they're a bit further back.
It's all about the content, isn't it? It's in the name of the overtakes. We love to see that. Laurito's out there, as we can see right now. Best time of a 40 flat, which very impressive indeed. Especially as you were saying at the top of the show, Luke, Foch being perhaps one of the favourites. Laurito putting 3.5 tenths on him. Is that a bit of a surprise at this stage?
Not a surprise. Laurito is definitely, those are the 2 names that I would say will be up there for the content creators. I think it would have been swapped around if I was to do my prediction, but to see a 3.5 tenth of a second gap, that is huge, to be honest. So yeah, be interesting to see how fast the pro drivers are compared to that, because I consider Foch and Laurito pro level, to be completely honest with you. We're on board now with Kyle Lowe, who is currently 1.7 seconds off and will not improve, as there's a mistake there on the exit of Aqua Minerale. And ultimately, that will be lap done and dusted. Julian Cizabuiros in the number 9 will have the chance to finish this lap off. Just had a question in the chat, by the way. Will the winner be announced on stream? Yes, I believe so. We will have the winners announced on stream. Let me know in the chat where you're watching from around the world as well, and I'll give you a little shout-out.
Love that. Does that include me? Can I
yeah, sure.
Well? Yeah.
X-Maddie G.
So 15 minutes and 45 left in the overall session, but only 45 seconds left for the content creators to get a lap in. Cesar Buiros at the moment, P9, 3.5 seconds back. And you can see a lovely little split screen here heading into Acqua Minerale, one of the most awesome corners, but the most difficult to nail, especially in these GT3 cars. Camille in his track guide saying about not running too wide, getting onto those sausage curves, invalidating your lap. There's so much time to be gained through there, and I found it fascinating that he was literally turning left into a right-hander, was Camille in his track guide, because he was just gently bringing the rear out and rotating the car in a manner that was cool, calm and collected, and also looked pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's the biggest difference between being like really fast and esports level or a casual, is being able to control counter steering. Because if I'm counter steering, it's because I'm trying to save myself from not hitting a wall. Whereas for a sim racing pro, that's just the way they drive. So they're always trying to keep those front wheels as straight as they possibly can and get the power down as early as they possibly can. So yeah, it's just kind of an intended way of driving. That is going to be session done for Julien. It's going to be P9 for Julien. We've got Naga, who's still out there, and will have the chance of finishing this lap. So on the exit of Acqua Minerale, moving up then towards Variante Alta. Now we're about to see maybe a shift here. A couple of tenths needed to go up into the top 3. You're going to need about 8 tenths of a second, the best part of a second, to move up into what would be P2. So I think, well, no, not going to be any improvement there. Naga's done. I think he did just hit the yellow sausage curbs there, which, as Camille told us in his lap guide, that will invalidate the lap. Now it's time for the pros.
Certainly is. I found it interesting as well that Imola, at least this year, has made some changes to the track. Of course, not currently in what we've seen in this particular game, but they've got rid of the runoff, and we've just got gravel everywhere now, which I find absolutely fascinating. And also, I will not be touching that with my sim rig because I struggle around Imola as it is. But that's the qualifying done, as you mentioned, and the two drivers of Larito and Foch up there. 3 tenths apart. Fascinated to see, Luke, just how close they can get to the other bunch that are now out on track.
Yeah, this is now where you're going to find out what kind of pace is available out there. These are, you know, some of the very fastest out there, especially who we're aboard with right now. Osterman, you've got the likes of Dylan Tan, who's been just improving month after month over the last couple of, like, sort of 24 months. He really has announced himself as one of the very best out there, especially in the Asia Pacific region. He's racing there for Legion of Racers. Getting a lovely shot there of the cockpit camera, and of course the TV broadcast camera on the left hand side is the same driver. I'd be shocked if Boothby or Osterman, maybe even Chris Hartevelt, those 3 will be the 3 for me that are the strongest on this grid. I'd be shocked if those 3, or at least one of them, are not there on pole position.
So whilst all the drivers are out there preparing for their first flying laps, to remind anyone that's just joined, firstly, welcome. This is the Thrustmaster GT Race around Imola, a prize pool for both the content creators and the pro drivers here today. So we've got the pro class and then the AM class, being the content creators that are getting involved. For the pros, P1 gets €1,250, and P2 €500, and P3 gets €250. And then in the AM class, where the content creators reside, for first place, it's a T818 Thrustmaster wheel with custom plates and a Ferrari 488 GT3 wheel. In P2, we have Ferrari SF1000 wheel, and in third place, a Ferrari 488 GT3 wheel. So it comes all together around a €1,500 prize pool for the top 3. So plenty to play for, don't want to give up, and as we've already mentioned, lots of content, lots of carnage to be made. This track is so difficult to overtake. Qualifying is really important, I think, for the pro drivers more, as you've got a whole bunch of them and they're going to be fiercely competitive. Yeah,
100%. You don't want to find yourself out of position. 15 minutes, though, it's quite a long qualifying session. In sim racing, especially at esports now, it's a lot of one-shot qualifying out there these days, where you just get one opportunity. So this will be quite an age for them, so they'll be pretty happy with that. So as we go across the line, Dylan Tan's up to 5th. Caracas is up to 6th. Boothby is up to 1st. He's done a 39.6 then. So I was wondering whether we might see anything under a 39.7, but there you go, straight away, first lap. I would imagine Boothby will improve on that as well. Rotters then in 2nd spot. Harteveld is in 3rd, separating those 3 by less than 2 tenths of a second. And then we've got Maulana in 4th spot as Bouquet goes across the line and moves up into 10th position. Be interesting to see where Tobias Pfeffer puts his first lap time, by the way. Narkle goes across the line in P4. So right now, Rotters, Boothby and Harteveld up there, separated by very little, and that is a great banker time for them as well. So now they can really push.
So Larito, our fastest content creator, but as we've already said, very much pro standard, down to 7th already. 6 drivers clearing that time. But Boothby, as you mentioned, 39.6, a very impressive lap from them. Here's Tan, just a tiny bit slower than Lorito. But Luke, can they just constantly do laps now between now and the end, or will they come in for a fresh set of boots perhaps halfway through?
Yeah, so the tyres are exactly the same as what you'd have in a race, so they're quite durable. So they will just have filled up for the entire 15 minutes and just go and do laps there. There might be a couple of drivers that come in and get fresh boots on. Like, it is an option, but I'm not sure it's going to have too much of an effect unless you overheat them, extortionately. As Dylan Tan goes pole position. So he now puts 2 tenths between himself and Boothby, and that is a phenomenal lap time. Here, we've just had one of the Congratill was coming across the line there, moved up into 11th, and then Grantas Caracas moves up to 4th momentarily. As Boothby now goes up, has improved again, he's up to 2nd position. And now we're on board with Andika Maulana, again, who's currently in 8th position, but only 4 tenths separating the top 8.
I think we might have a good race on our hands somehow with how close this qualifying session is. It might well just get closer as the drivers just settle into this qualifying session. As you said, Tan 39.4. That's it's getting a quicker and quicker as we go around. Vasna's gone P7 at the moment, 39.8. But yeah, lots of drivers in the 39s at the moment.
Yeah, I've commentated on Dylan Tan over the last sort of 4 or 5 years in many regional championships, so it's kind of Asia Pacific region, where he's been right at the top end, and then he started racing in the SRO series, which is worldwide, and to start off with wasn't quite at the level of, let's say, Europe and North America is pretty strong, but racing against better drivers, having someone to chase, obviously going to improve you. And over the last sort of 12 to 18 months, Dylan Tan has really found that form to put him right at the top end of the eSports roster, if you like, or the top end of pace, and right now showcasing a real massive skill set. Fair play.
It's fascinating to see esports drivers develop over the years, isn't it? And seeing perhaps potential, but then, oh wow, Rotas has done a 39.2 to go provisional pole position at the moment. Can we see a 38, Luke? What's going on out here?
Oh, well, I would say no, but the way that the improvement's happening out there, that is pretty ridiculous. So Rotas then has gone provisional pole. 8 minutes left. The track will get more rubbered in, so there is going to be more pace, but the track temperature, the ambient temperature are exactly the same. The optimum conditions are exactly the same. So right now, it's just about hooking up that lap as we see Batista Jimenez in 18th currently as it stands. Still only Lorito and Foch who are mixing it with the pro drivers. But yeah, that is some time there. A 39.210. Rotta's looking really good, and well, the Aston looking really good because it's a front row lockout as it stands. I saw a comment in the Twitch chat about the ITB livery. It is really nice. They were actually dark blue the last time I saw them when they were racing in the SRO ICGT series. But it's nice to see that they've got a different colour this time around, and I think it's really smart. And there's lots of nice smart liveries on the grid today, which makes the commentator's job a lot easier.
Certainly does. We love to see colourful liveries out here. And the point I was making before Rotas decided to smash in a 39.2 was around the development of esports drivers, and you see potential in some, but perhaps not the ability to deliver. And it's a mental game as much as it is being able to put in a lap, isn't it? It's about being able to put all that weight on your shoulders and go, yeah, I can deal with this. I can take on however many are in the field, and to set very close to your PB is what happened there.
He just split. He just split Rotas and Maulana. He went up to P2 from P3, so lovely, gained a couple of tenths. George Boothby now puts himself into P2, so there's some improvement. And yes, they are going to bring the cars into the pit to get a fresh set of boots on and split the session. Ferrari esports driver Chris Hartevelt across the line, only P8 for him. But look at the gaps. Top 8 separated by 0.3 of a second. Absolutely nothing.
So I don't know if you said it or not because there's so much going on, but Pfeffer's gone to provisional pole with a 39.1 now. So we're seeing improvements left, right and centre. Honzik is coming over the line, 15th at the moment, and stays there, unfortunately, within half a tenth of his best lap there. Maybe Yaroslav will be like, well, I'm kind of a content creator as well, so I feel like I've been shafted a little bit by having to be in the pro drivers, but he's obviously buzzing off the back of his real-life debut, which was great to see. The emotion that he had in his face was something to behold for him. But of course, very talented in the sim racing scene as well.
Yeah, 100%. One of the biggest content creators in sim racing out there. So to, you know, be competitive at the same time as creating content for a large audience, but then also sharing that time with going out and doing real racing, that is some schedule. So yeah, you've just got to tip your hat sometimes and show some respect. Derbicourt about to come across the line up to 14th, so 16th up to 14th position. And ironically, that pushes Honzik down a position, now down to P16.
So we're taking a look at Honzik still. Hard into the chicane. As you can see there with 4 minutes 58 to go, so not a lot of time to improve out there. And I think as a pro driver, the one target you've got is to beat the content creators, isn't it? Just from an honour perspective, you want to be beating Lorito and Foch ideally. I think that's the target for the few drivers that are currently behind them. 5 of them, in fact, behind Lorito at the moment. Foch is right in the middle there, but I'm sure that is probably the minimum for those drivers coming into this.
Yeah, but there's a message saying that Honzik signed up for the wrong class. He now moves up into P15, and he should be in the content creators class. But our graphics also state that he's a pro driver, so yeah, he's one of those.
He has done a race, hasn't he? He's done a
it's a very fine line.
Sorry, mate.
It's a very fine line between whether he's a content creator or a pro driver. But yeah, he has signed up as a pro driver, which you know, that's completely up to him. I'm sure he'll still be able to cope with that, no problem whatsoever. Derbicourt currently just over 1 second off of what he needs to go pole position. It's going to be tough to get into the hunt for pole position. That's a lot of time to find. Boothby now is up to 3rd spot. He's now just 1.5 tenths off. I'm wondering, is Pfeffer still on pole position? As we go across the line and Fort Lillian at Derbicourt for race clutch. Is there going to be some improvement in time? Across the line we will go, and it is not any improvement there. So into the pits we go. 3 minutes 30 seconds to go, so still time to indeed get some fresh rubber onto the car and ultimately get another lap time in. If they cross the line before it hits 0, they will get to finish that lap time, people watching at home. So Pfeffer is still P1. Rotters then just 0.5 tenth further back in 2nd position. Then there's Boothby, Dylan Tan. We've got Andika Maulana. We've got Jakob Osterman, who we're on board with right now, coming around the final corner.
Just over 3 minutes to go now. And fascinating to see how many improvements happen as Osterman now, currently P6, coming over the line with just under 3 minutes to go now. Goes 3rd place, less than a tenth off Pfeffer. That is a really good lap, and this qualifying session's getting us rather excited, I think, for this 90-minute race that's ahead, that we could have a serious dogfight for those top 3 positions and the prize pool that's being offered by Thrustmaster. As we now take a look at Pfeffer, currently in provisional pole, and we have pretty much, every single driver out on track at the moment, so plenty of opportunity for improvement, Luke.
Yeah, we are going to see some changes, that's for sure. If you find yourself right now in the top 8, you're 0.3 of a second at minimum off of, or maximum, should I say, off of P1. So if you can find a couple of tenths, you're more than likely going to move up 5 or 6 positions. So right now, it's all about being clutch and trying to find those extra hundredths of a second as Messu comes around the final corner in the Porsche, hugging the right-hand side of the track there, trying to take the shortest possible route towards the start-finish line. Is there any improvement over the line they go? No, there isn't. So still P11, and there will be one more opportunity after this. So 2 more flying laps then for Renault as we go across the line then for Tobias Pfeffer. Any extra time being found here? It's dragging along. I think Bouquet currently in that BMW just behind, might be looking to have Tobias Pfeffer give him an extra couple of tenths there with the toe around Imola.
Yeah, Pfeffer was on a push lap there, did a 39.5 that time around, but as you say, towing along a competitor's not probably what you ideally want, but either way, Rotors, who's currently P2, going around the final couple of corners, can Rotors find just over 0.5 tenth to snatch away provisional pole? Doesn't look like we're going to dip into the 38s, but let's see. 1 minute to go, and Rotors looking like just starting a lap, or didn't improve at least, as we now take a look at Hartveld, 8th in the Ferrari, 3 tenths back, as you say, Luke, so close between these top 8, and comes over the line and does not improve. 1 tenth slower, so they're close to their PBs, but not quite improving at the moment.
Yeah, well, you know, a lot of these drivers have already got their bankers in, so now they can just absolutely push. Just leave everything out there. If you make a mistake, you make a mistake. The worst that can happen is you start where you are already on the grid. It's Sasha Vasner across the line then for Unicorns of Love, and still stays in P10. But the clock has not ticked down to 0. So anybody that crosses the line now, before we hit 0 in the top middle of your screens, will be able to complete their lap time. Rotters is done. So P2 will be the best then that Rotters can get. Maulana's done. Larita, of course, is done. He's a content creator. Anyway, Vasna is also done. So right now, we are starting to see people finish up. As we go across the line here, oh, it's going to be tight. It's not going to be enough, though. Narkle will not get an extra lap time in, so it has to be done on this one, or this attempt, and it's not going to be good enough. That'll be P9 then for Abby Narkle. Now we're on board with Dylan Tan as he comes through Rivatsa, the second part of it. And actually, he is dragging along here, I believe, Jakob Osterman. Osterman, though, does come into the pits. That's laps done for him. Dylan Tan, is there some extra time being found then for the Legions of Racer driver? No, there is not. Tobias Pfeffer, who already is on pole position, did get across the line and is starting another attempt here, but doesn't really need to improve here unless Boovbeat finds something magical in the final few seconds of this session.
As Hartfeld then in the Ferrari, it's going to come over the line. Will there be an improvement here? And does improve. 7th position, a very minor improvement, but that's an extra spot further up the grid. What about Congratel? 13th at the moment. And that is not going to be a position gained for Congratel. 13th for them. And Pfeffer, can they just stick in a 38 just for a bit of fun? It doesn't look like anyone else is going to topple Pfeffer at the top of the standings in this qualifying session. But yeah, half a tenth between the top two, 88 thousandths, top three. Can Pfeffer showcase a bit more pace? We'll find out, I imagine, if they end up going into the pits or not. Round the, I guess, the last corner you have to think about as we head down on the straight now. Luke, will we see an improvement?
Well, the beautiful thing for him is he can see the relative that everyone else has finished, so he could just go out there and fly. Knows he's got pole position, but it's not going to be an improvement. But he knew pretty much with about 3/4 of a lap to go there that he was going to be pole spot. Everyone else behind him was just done and dusted, but that is some qualifying time. But the top 4 separated by less than 0.2 of a second. We might be in for a bit of a spectacular race, a spectacle for people watching at home. So if you're at home watching on Twitch or YouTube, get yourselves involved in the chat. We'll try and give you a shout out during this. There is also a giveaway, exclamation mark giveaway, and I'm sure that there is a QR code right now on your screens, which I can see. Yeah, get your blur out, take a picture, and you're good to go.
Certainly is. So let's take a look at the results, shall we, from this qualifying session and see how they stack up after that scintillating 30-minute qualifying, 15 minutes for the content creators and then 15 minutes for the pro drivers. We should have a full rundown for you very shortly. Of course, as you say, very, very close in qualifying. It should make for Imola, which notoriously is quite difficult to overtake at, but we should see some jostling for positions, especially in those opening few laps. And we have to make sure as well, Luke, that you don't make a mistake too early, because if you're forced into a pit stop, it might actually scupper your race plans, not completely, but definitely put you on the back foot.
Yeah, you're assuming that any of these drivers are going to make a mistake. They're that good, they probably won't. That's the beauty and the difference of sim racing and real world motorsport. You can go out there and do 1,000 laps at any track whenever you want. Whereas in motorsports, you kind of got a 3-day window where you can put those laps in. So I wouldn't expect too many mistakes here, but that is what it will take for an overtake to happen. And luckily, as you pointed out earlier on, we have gravel traps very close to the edges of the race circuit, and the curbs, if you run wide on any part of this circuit, especially through places like Aqua Minerale, you will just keep going off the circuit, and that will open up the door for other drivers. So yeah, I'm not sure we're going to see too many mistakes, but a mistake will be punished.
So let's take a look at that qualifying session then. And for the content creators, Amos Larito was the fastest by, I think it was 3.5 tenths in the end, clear of Samir Foch. And then, yeah, it's all to play for, I think, for third place, Luke, is fair to say.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's a very clear sort of fastest 2, but P3 is very much up for grabs. But there is the opportunity for drivers to make errors. They are human after all. I think if you're going to see errors, it will be more to do with the content creators. But I just think for everyone else other than Samir Foch and Larito, it's a bit of a shame that they have those two in this race, because those two are extremely quick. We just had a notification, by the way, Matt, that it's not a 90-minute race. It's going to be an 80-minute race.
Oh, okay. There you go. 80-minute race ahead of us. I'm sure there'll be still plenty of action to talk about. I'm fascinated to talk about Laurito very quickly and how he's actually in the mix with the pro drivers here. How does he manage this race? Because I'm sure the racer within him wants to finish as high up as possible, but also has to think about the fact he's in his own class with the other content creators.
He's not going to be worried about the pro drivers. He's just going to be worried about himself. If he can stay, in the lead, and if he can keep, as many pro drivers behind him as possible, it just gives him more chance of winning his content creator class, if you like. So he's not going to be worried about anyone else. They're going to have to be more worried about him, to be honest. So as long as he stays ahead of Samir and the rest of the gang, he doesn't care about those pro drivers.
Let's go to the pro drivers then, and the qualifying results from that session. Luke, take us through it.
Yeah, Tobias Pfeffer, who we earmarked as one of the favourites at the start of this broadcast, has absolutely delivered. It was by just shy of 600ths of a second to Lewis Rotters, who's, again, another exceptionally talented driver. Jakob Osterman, who really announced himself last year as a top-tier ACC talent. George Boothby, who has won so many major championships on ACC, like I mentioned earlier on, also a Guitar Hero world champion. Dylan Tan, he's in 5th position. Maulana in 6th. We've then got Harteveld and Caracas as your top 8. Then the other 8 drivers, we've got Narkle, Vasner, Massoud, we've got Congretel, Devacor, Honzik, Bouquet, and Jimenez.
Amazing stuff. So the grid is set quite perfectly for us, I'd say, Luke. And of course, if you're just joining, welcome. The race is coming up. 80 minutes around Imola is very, very close. And we've got a prize pool for both content creators and also for the pro drivers. So lots to play for. And I think we've also got a video that we can show you of the T818 wheel, which makes it look quite good, doesn't it, Luke?
Certainly does. Certainly does. Have a look at that then, shall we? Or not? Doesn't matter.
Might do.
Oh, there we are.
Ciao, sono Andrea Capoccia e sono un pilota per Scuderia Ferrari Esports Team.
I'm John Ferrari and I'm a sim driver for the Scuderia Ferrari Esports Team.
Ciao, sono Giorgio Simonini e sono il team manager di Scuderia Ferrari Esports Team.
You always want a wheel that gives you the possibilities to act fast, to understand what is happening on track.
You can definitely feel the curves as you go over the chicane.
Normally, as an esports driver, I never really care too much about the looks of what I use. But being a Ferrari driver is really flattering for me to drive such a branded product.
Driving with the Ferrari branded T818 is a great pleasure for all of us. It gives us the right opportunity to have a partnership with Thrustmaster and do well throughout our competitions.
The things you almost instantly feel driving the T818 is the sharpness of the power.
The unfiltered power definitely helps you in that regard, and it helps you be more consistent and more comfortable.
The 10 Nm torque actually feels perfect. It makes you feel perfectly what you want to feel, and at the exact moment you want to feel it. The SF1000 wheel is just phenomenal. It has all the buttons you need, all the toggles you need.
The screen gives me a lot of info, where I am gaining time, where I'm losing it.
The T818 Ferrari SF1000 simulator is a good call for esports environments.
Well, there you go, Luke. Awesome stuff. If you're in the chat, ! giveaway, or scan the QR code and you could be in with a chance of winning a T818 Thrustmaster wheel. I think we're about ready to get underway.
We certainly are here. We've got ourselves 80 minutes of racing action. We will have ourselves a full formation lap here as well, so I will go through a few formalities. Rubik already getting the cold one cracked open. Love to see that. Get yourself some drinks, get yourself some snacks. This will prove to be a very, very cool racing event indeed. So keep an eye out for the coloured numbers by their name in the timing tower. So if they have a red underneath their number, that means that they are a content creator. If it's white, that means they are one of the pro drivers. That's one thing for you to watch out for. I want you all now, ladies and gentlemen, to let me know in the chat over on Twitch, just what I'm keeping an eye on, as to who you think is going to win this race. Maybe you've just got a favorite driver that you are here to support. Matt, give me a prediction. Who do you think is going to go out there and win both classes?
Oh, you know what? That's Fefa, I think, has been brilliant so far. It's so close that it's. Oh, your car actually stopped out on track, which I'm not sure what's going on there in the background. I would like to say it's hard not to go for the pole man in the content creator class of Larito, just purely because you've been gassing him up all stream anyway, just by the fact that he is pro level, and he's a veteran of the sim racing scene as it is. So I'd say Larito for that, and then. It's difficult, I want to say Fefa because it's the easy option, but it's not. There's so many talented drivers here in the pro class that, you know what, I'm going to ask you now, Luke, who would you go for?
Yeah, I think Larito is a really good shout. I think if there's any mistakes, then Samir Foch will be able to take advantage of that. Outside of those two, I don't see anybody else really mixing it, to be honest. I'm going to go with Jakob Osterman to win this race. I think he's very good at building a stint. He's very good at the end of a stint as well. I commentated on him for the first time when he really sort of became a top-tier sort of level sim racer last year at Kyalami. He did manage to spin the car on pit entry, but he led the whole stint, and he was very quick there. So I just think if he can get some clear air, if he can maybe manage to get himself up to the front, then he will be very difficult to beat. But I guess it's very tough to go against Tobias Fefa, who is out in the front there. All depends really on what the race pace for that Ferrari is like, because I know the Aston is a little bit easier in terms of drivability. Whether or not that gives you a little bit of extra pace remains to be seen. But all I know is it's going to be an absolutely fantastic race.
Yeah, looking forward to this one. Top 3 get a prize. Outside of that, you go home with nothing apart from perhaps a bit of happiness and joy that you took part in the Thrustmaster GT race. But that should open up some, I don't want to call them dive bombs, but that's kind of the only term that comes to my head. From the 4th and below competitors, they're going to want to make positions up. They're not going to want to turn off their computers and think, I didn't win anything tonight.
No, that is absolutely spot on. I think that will bring some desperation into play. That is for certain. Here we are then, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for our race. So it is an hour and 20 minutes long, 80 minutes long. And we got Tobias Fefa on pole position with Rotters in second spot. Will the two ITB drivers be able to work together potentially here and take on that race clutch driver out in front? Never count George Boothby out. He is that purple car on the right-hand side of your screen in that 296 Ferrari. We're about to go racing here then for the first ever Thrustmaster GT race, and it will be our pole sitter to take us away once we get towards that start-finish line, which we are now green light racing, and we are off. The first ever Thrustmaster GT race is off and running as George Boothby there has a little bit of contact with, by the looks of things, that was Osterman. Oh, there's contact there between our pole sitter and indeed Boothby. They're both off the circuit, and while Rotters is off into the distance, and Osterman already up to P2, and I'm sure that will be looked at by the race director instantly. So we've got down to turn 1, and already one of our favourites, the pole sitter, is done.
Yeah, worth mentioning there is race direction stewards involved here, so we'll keep an eye on that, and there's definitely going to be some penalties dished out. As you say, Boothby very much involved with that. As we take a look at Vasner in P7, there's the leaderboard. Rotters getting away very well indeed, but that, was not the ideal start for some of the drivers.
No, Tobias Fefa then already down to P13, so it is going to be a monumental effort to get himself back up the order. And this is where strategy comes into play. There is no pit window. So if you feel like you can pit early here and then extend the fuel all the way to the end, it probably is beneficial to get yourself out of the pack if you are someone like Fefa and you're definitely, with the drivers that are not as quick as you. So you're going to lose too much time in a train here. It's so difficult to make an overtake as we get on board then with Jaroslav Honzik, and that's the last driver you want in front of you, realistically, if you're Tobias Fefa, because Honzik is so difficult to overtake. We might see here Samir Foch under a little bit of pressure from Jimenez. Jimenez looking to go round the outside, squeezes him then onto the apex of Ravazza, and if he's going to get this move done, he's going to have to go all the way around the outside. It's not going to work out. The number 888 Samir Foch does indeed hold a firm line and will hold on to that position.
Lots of hard racing at the moment. Taking a look at Bouquet in 15th at the moment, and they're going to go potentially 3 wide into turn 1, which is probably not ideal. Foch getting involved there as well. Larito down the road in 11th and very much getting away in this pack as they go side by side through the first couple of corners. Beautiful racing.
Yeah, Samir Foch there defending that really nicely. Bouquet trying to go around the outside. It does take 2 to tango. Sometimes you've got to celebrate the both of them. And then we've got a little bit further back. Sorry, it's Debacor. Samir Foch is actually behind here. So Debacor is the car in front, so I can only apologise there. But yeah, Samir Foch is actually the 3rd in this train. And you've got the Porsche behind of Naga as well, followed very, very closely by Lentes. So yeah, it was Debacor that was getting involved there, as Rotters has the fastest lap of the race. That will be beaten this next tour around this circuit, as we're on board now with Dylan Tan, who is keeping George Boothby very honest indeed.
Crucially for Pfeffer, I know that it's obviously not gone well at all at the start of that race, but firstly, clearly got the pace, we've seen it in qualifying, and secondly, in this, I guess, big pack from 2nd all the way down to 13th, he's not been caught up in the Debacor Bouquet Foch fight that was going on, and he can start to really just get his head down and try to get past Honzik, who's currently running in P12. Looking at Vasner, but still in 7th, right behind Caracas. So see if they can perhaps go toe-to-toe down towards turn 1. All of them just dragging themselves along ever so slightly with the distant toe. But we do have a very close fight for P6 here, potentially down towards turn 1.
Yeah, as we get to the higher gears, you can see here that Vasner is going to close in, but you have to get a really good exit out of the final corner, out of Ravazza, to really be able to make any kind of inroads and make a move down towards turn number 1. So yeah, you'll learn over the course of this race that setting it up into Ravazza is absolutely vital, and if you can maybe even be on the outside of a car and get a slight overlap, force them tight into Ravazza, meaning they're slow on the exit, that can then set up for turn number 1. But you've just got to use your head around here. You can't just send one up the inside, you're going to lose too much time. It's very difficult to then hold on to a position. So the lead now, down 0.2 of a second. Osterman is closing up to Rotters. They are teammates, so it's a tough one here. Are they out for themselves, or will they manage this to a position where they then can fight and not lose a 1-2? I think that will be the key here. I don't think either of those drivers are going to be in any kind of trouble. They weren't really involved in the incident that happened earlier on. It was between Pfeffer and Boothby. That was where the contact really happened. So I think
have some information on that, Luke, actually.
Golden.
I have some information on that, sorry, and it's the fact that George Boothby is going to be breathing a sigh of relief because there is no further action for that incident in lap 1, turn 1.
That's a very good spot there. I've just looked at it as well. I love the fact that they've got accused and victim as the little what would that be called? The little columns. So that's fair enough. But yeah, that's going to be no further action, and I think that's fair, to be honest. It's I think Pfeffer's going to be pretty angry with how that's gone, as you see a proper send down the inside there. Lentes trying to make a move there at Harteveld, I believe, and that could have ended in tears. Luckily, they're all good. They're all facing in the right direction. That was some Ferrari on Ferrari on Ferrari action.
It certainly was. So we've got another Ferrari involved here with Caracas and Vasner and Abi Narkel. 6th, 7th and 8th are these 3 drivers. Of course, they're going to want to start to not lose too much time to the top 5. Caracas just outside of that 1 second window. You don't really want to be falling further and further behind because there's no points up for grabs. There's no prizes up for grabs for this trio of cars. And as you mentioned earlier, Osterman is closing in, fastest lap of the race as well, currently in P2. So we do have a fight on our hands, despite Rotters looking very quick in those initial stages and was clear by over a second. It's now 3/4.
Yeah, no, 100%. We saw another no further action there as well. So I guess they're treating the first lap as, a first lap in any race. Things are going to happen. This is interesting here. Osterman is still closing in on Rotters. The last thing they need to do, though, is give a glimmer of hope to Boothby. You do not want to let him feel like he's got an opportunity of closing up and getting underneath that rear wing, because he will manufacture a move, that is for certain. So these two need to race clever. I know there's an hour and 13 minutes to go. It's a long time to go in this race. But if Osterman does catch up to the back of Rotters, they've got to make a decision whether they just swap the cars and then let Osterman drive away, or they just tell Osterman, you've got to stay behind Rotters. But ultimately, they cannot fight. They cannot afford to let Boothby and Dylan Tan you know, be gifted a free opportunity of getting involved in this fight.
So as you can see, heading down towards turn 1, I think it'll make a lot of sense for those two to work together, as Vasner is now through on Caracas up to P6. These two fighting continuously at the beginning of this race. 1 hour 12 to go. It was originally going to be a 90-minute race. It's now an 80-minute race. And if you're just joining, welcome. This is the Thrustmaster GT Race. We have pro drivers and content creators racing in one particular race around Imola here. And Osterman now 0.4 of a second. You can see that on the Delta. Another thing I wanted to mention was Pfeffer's not really making any progress whatsoever, still behind Honzik, despite starting right at the front and then being involved in that incident, as that is very, very wide for Vasner there, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, that was definitely not the intended line there through Piratella. Ultimately does hold on to the position. They will get 3 warnings before there is any kind of penalty, and that is a swap of positions then. So they've decided that Osterman is the faster of the two. He's just going to go off now and drive away, and I think Rotters is going to be basically just trying to hold Boothby up here. But for the pros, remember, it is a prize pool of money. So have they gone, do you know what? Whatever we win here, we're going to go halves. Well, no, it was a mistake. So it was actually a mistake there. Wow, right, so that replay clears that up. So it was a mistake there from Rotters, so it wasn't intended to let Osterman go. But Osterman, this is like all of his birthdays and Christmases rolled into one. He's up into P1, although it's a lovely slide there out of Variante Alta. But ultimately, he does now lead this race, and this is where he's at his absolute best. He's one of the very best leaders of a race out there.
Oh, you say that?
Say that. He makes a mistake. Rotters now with a chance, and there's contact between the two of them. George Boothby, this is not what you want to do. You do not want to give Boothby an opportunity. And as we come then down through the second chicane, he is going to get slowed up. But the front 4 now separated by absolutely nothing.
Osterman and Rotters look like they were bulletproof, and the last couple of laps have had both of them making mistakes. And we've now got a 4-way fight for the lead here. Osterman, Rotters, Boothby, and Tan has joined the party as well now. Unfortunately for Boothby, couldn't find a way through in those first couple of corners. She was into turn 3 and 4 actually, but Boothby, fastest lap of the race as well, got some pace, and as you say, he's brought right back into this now.
I think it's safe to say that the front 2 are not working together as a team.
No, I don't think so either.
There's enough evidence to back that up, that's for sure. But yeah, as you can see, they are not going to be working together, but you just don't want to give Boothby that opportunity. You don't want to give him a free opportunity. You want to make him at least work for it. You see a potential move being made here. Narkelman on Masood, and well, Masood just decides to take a different line, an alternative line there through Variante Alta, an Alta line if you like. And yeah, not worked out too well, as now he's defending here from the Aston Martin of Jaroslav Honzik, and well, Honzik's just been absolutely sent there by Congratel. He took full advantage and he's nailed it. So the TX3 car, the Ferrari, has just he saw that there was all messing around a little bit there down in towards Ravazza, just sent it, held on. Lovely job.
I was about to start praising Honzik, because he'd made a couple of positions up there. He was fighting Pfeffer and he'd made himself up into the top 10, but getting mugged a little bit there in the last sector. Honzik's still running well in 11th, as we're now taking a look at the rear of Osterman. And we now cut to Lorito, who is winning this content creator class. Don't forget, that's what the red shading means on the left-hand side of your screen. Foch in 16th at the moment, still not out of it, but 3.3 seconds the deficit for Foch to Lorito. And well, look at the train of cars here. It can change in a blink of an eye. One mistake, one small error, and this could have a proper concertina of cars.
Yeah, 100% could. That is exactly right. Did you mention Jimenez with the 5-second penalty? I'm pretty sure you did.
No, I didn't. No, you go into it.
Ah. Yes, the first penalty of the race then for Jimenez came up at the bottom there, was the race director. So that will be added once he comes into the pits. So if they receive a penalty after they've pit, once they've done their mandatory, that means it'll be added to their race time at the end of the race. So if it's happened before, that means it'll just be added to their pit time. So they'll get their pit stop done, and then they'll just hold them for that extra 5 seconds. We're on board though with Dylan Tan on the right-hand side of your screen and the left-hand side of your screen. And it seems like the front 4 have kind of figured themselves out, especially the front 2 Astons, because they were on the ragged edge for a very long time. But ultimately, with 12 minutes done of this race, an hour and 8 minutes yet to go, it is ITB 1 and 2. And Boothby, I'm just wondering, if he can stay close enough to these cars in front, he might be in a very good position to save some fuel and have a shorter stop. But with an 80-minute race, it's not too much of a chance of strategy. But there is an opportunity here for Boothby, maybe even Dylan Tan. It's nice to see, though, 3 different manufacturers in the top 4.
Certainly love to see that. A little bit further down, Congratel at the back of that Ferrari. We're taking a look at Honzik, who's looking very racy indeed. Didn't enjoy being stolen that position a few moments ago, and is very much involved in this fight. A little bit further back, we have our class leader Larito. You can see in the distant background on the left-hand side, we can see the fight at the front once more. And I do wonder if there was maybe a tiny call, over the radio, over the team radio, within their team. Just go, come on, guys. I know that you want to race. You've made a couple of mistakes. So let's just settle it down. We can figure it out at the end, because there are 2 other drivers involved here, meaning that someone could miss out and will miss out in this top 4 when it comes to the prize pool. Yeah,
100%. Don't do anything silly. You can definitely lose a race at this point. You can't win it, that's for certain, but you can for sure lose it by chucking it into a wall. And when it's your teammate, you've got the advantage of being able to talk to them, or have a third party talk to you both and calm you both down and go, look, he isn't going to attack you. And you have that information for sure. If someone like Boothby was leading, he wouldn't have the information from Rotters or Osterman. It would be a case of him every single lap, he'd be thinking, oh, they're going to send it this time, they're going to send it this time. So there's a big advantage to the front 2 as it stands. They've also got the big advantage of their teammate, Kamil Pavlovsky, who's the one who did the track guide, Thrustmaster Ambassador. So they will know this track inside out. But as it stands, it is Osterman leading by 0.4 of a second. Rotters in second spot. Fastest driver on track, though, is George Boothby. He's in third. Dylan Tan not far behind as well, but just getting dropped a little bit. Needs to be a bit wary of that. Needs to at least stay in the tow.
I'm wondering about Pfeffer here, Luke, and whether there was some damage picked up or something, because there's been no progress from a driver that was stunning in qualifying. And is still behind Honzik, who I think Pfeffer cleared by over a second when it comes to that 1 lap pace. So you do have to wonder whether there is something holding Pfeffer back after that first lap incident.
I don't think there'll be too much damage. There may be a little bit, but I don't think there'll be too much damage, and I don't think it'll be affecting performance per se. ACC is based on an endurance series in real life, as we know, and overtaking is at a premium in endurance racing. For the most part, overtakes are made during pit stops and driver swaps and strategy calls. You don't really see too much on track. The cars are so overdeveloped these days, it's very difficult to do so. And again, Jaroslav Honzik, as much as he is down as a content creator, or whether he's a pro driver here today, he's supposed to be in the content creators, he is still one of the very best out there. When I saw that Pfeffer was behind Honzik earlier on in the race, I would mention it's probably the last person you want to be behind, because you will very much struggle to make an overtake on him. So he will be hoping that Honzik can just make some moves, as it looks like we've got a Ferrari here struggling. Is that a back marker there? Is that a full back marker? I'm not too sure. I can't see the number on that car there, but they're all going through, and I think that they're being allowed through, in all fairness. Their Larito is also now joined on the back of this. And yeah, so there's Pfeffer. Oh no, it was Pfeffer, isn't it? So Pfeffer's battling with Honzik. Honzik, though, has managed to get back ahead. So he momentarily, as they crossed the line, got ahead of Honzik, but now not so much here. So Congratil really is the cork in the bottle. And then, as you see, a mistake there from Pfeffer. And then Larito, who is leading the content creator class, looking to try and get properly involved here.
Doesn't want to get too involved, though, does he, Larito? Because it could go pretty wrong, but I guess at the same point, if the drivers ahead that are pro are going a bit slower than what you're capable of doing, he needs to get involved, otherwise he is going to have Foch, who's not too far away, joining this party as well, and all of a sudden his first place in that class could come under threat. So fascinating to see how that one unfolds. We're now looking in the full screen, back at the front once more, and it seems like Tan's losing a bit of touch actually with the top three here, crucially. Just over a second back now. And I wonder if, yeah, Tan's starting to struggle and then losing touch with these top three, which will secure those top three cash prizes.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, it also kind of eliminates any potential strategy of saving fuel and having a shorter stop if he does lose the slipstream in front. So you've got to be careful here if you're Dylan Tan. And realistically, he needs now these front three to start fighting with each other. And that means that they'll slow each other down. But there's no real sign of that right now. It looks like Osterman, Rotters and Boothby have settled into a really nice rhythm. And ultimately, you know, meaning they can just drive away. As we were about to see a potential move here, then Jaroslav Honzik is going to have to go the long way round through turn number 1. It's not quite going to work out there. And Congrachel is going to hang on as they exit then the first chicane through the left-hander, now down to the second of our chicanes. Congrachel goes over defensive. I think there might be a slight overlap here. Honzik, is he going to leave his nose? And he decides against it, backs out of the move. And now it's all about trying to set it up down in towards Tosa. Tosa being the hairpin. And well, there's a mistake there slightly from Congratil, and now is there the opportunity for a move down towards Piratella or up towards Piratella? It doesn't look like it, but really the big winners of this are the cars in front and the cars behind, because these three are all losing time. Congratil making a few mistakes there, but does manage to hold on to a top 10.
And the winners as well are us watching, because they are certainly giving us a lot of action to watch here. Honzik trying to get through Aqua Minerale. It's a bit of a mistake from Congratel there ahead, but gets away with it for now. And Pfeffer's trying to capitalise on the pair of them, scrapping away. Pfeffer had actually lost a bit of time before this battle started out. He was almost a second back from these two, so it's not the cleanest race from the driver that was so quick in qualifying. But yeah, still can't really get through, and I'd be fascinated to see what Pfeffer can do. If he can actually dispatch of Congratel and Honzik, could he then start to close in on the drivers ahead? But right now, he just can't pick his moment.
Yeah, he wouldn't catch up to these. I'm fairly sure of that, but he would definitely, with clear air, be able to make some inroads on the rest of the field in front of him. Unfortunately, it's a little bit too late for him to go out there and win the race unless there's some massive shunts near the front end. But yeah, you know, it's too much sort of arguing between drivers at the start of this race in turn 1 has ultimately cost Pfeffer. Obviously, we saw that it was a no further action as well with him and Boothby. There's Honzik now looking to try and take a different line here. Should get a good run now, actually, through down towards Tosa. And Congratil is going to be under some serious pressure. I think Honzik's going to send it. He will. He tries to fake around the outside, sends it up the inside. Congratil then has to hold the outside line, has to leave the room. And this is good news here then as we head up towards Piratella for Tobias Pfeffer, because they're going to go through there very slowly, and there might be an opening, an opportunity for him to sneak one up the inside of Congratel. Again, Congratel, they're running out of grip. He's going to have to go around the outside of Aqua Minerale now. Honzik goes through, and how brave do you want to be, Pfeffer? How brave can you be under braking? Oh, it's beautiful. Delightful move there from Pfeffer, fully taking advantage. Honzik just puts the door ajar, and Pfeffer smashes his way through. Beautiful.
Ah, it was amazing. You don't tend to see two cars going through Aqua Minerale like that, and to pull a move around the outside is beautiful work from Pfeffer. Congratel really struggling out of that next chicane as well. Larito, our class leader for the content creators, is now going to try and move around the outside. Don't want to be taking too many risks, Larito, but Congratel late on the brakes, too late on the brakes, and Larito makes another position, which is another car, another bit of buffer between himself and Foch, currently running in 16th overall. Yeah,
do you know what happened to Congratel there? He has just been psychologically beaten over that lap, and that's why he's making mistakes near the end of it, because he's just been under pressure through every braking zone, every apex. There's just been no respite whatsoever. The one thing that will be a positive now for Tobias Pfeffer is Honzik does not have slipstream in front of him, so he will be a little bit slower, leaving him a bit more susceptible to a move from Tobias Pfeffer. So expect within the next couple of laps for them to at least be side by side.
We've got less than 1 hour to go in this Thrustmaster GT race, and it is still all to play for, especially in the pro driver class. Osterman, Roters and Boothby separated by 1 second. Tan is just about clinging on to them at the moment. He's sort of stabilised that gap, maybe lost a couple of tenths max, and it's 1.3, just under seconds for Tan. And then you have Milana in P5, Vazna P6, Caracas and Abinakal in P7 and 8, then Masood and Honzik rounding out your top 10. As we look at Pfeffer now, starting to look a little bit more racy into this chicane. Surely that's not going to work, and it doesn't. Pfeffer, I think he might well be in a bit of trouble I'm going to keep an eye on the race direction, Luke.
Yeah, you can see that Pfeffer's got the number 5 today. I believe we might be seeing a second 5 added, maybe even 2 sets of 5. If he makes a mistake there, he's going to lose out to Larito, and Larito should have the inside line. But that was very naughty, and you know, you're not really fighting for the top 3. So if I was him, I would be nice and kind here, let Honzik go, and then re-battle for that position. I think he might be doing exactly that as he filters in behind Congratel. He's losing a lot of time here. Just wondering, Tobias Pfeffer's a pretty fair driver, so I'll be pretty surprised if he doesn't drop back a couple of spots and let Honzik go. As Larito, though, makes a hell of a mistake there. Congratel is going to sweep it round the outside of the second chicane. And, well, sorry, the first chicane. Now come down towards the second chicane. He's got the outside line. Honzik's now trying to make a move. Oh, now Honzik caused one. Oh, Honzik caused one on Debicor. And, well, he's battled with the wrong Ferrari there, effectively. If he wanted to take someone out, he's taken the wrong one out. But we know that he hasn't done that intentionally. And Pfeffer will see that in his rearview mirror thinking, yeah, I can't really drop that far back and give back the positions. But I think we might see some intervention from the race director.
Yeah, I think the stewards are going to be a bit busy now with some of the incidents we've just seen. What a shame for Honzik. He was running so well, he was looking quick, he wanted to be involved in fighting Pfeffer, and it then just went downhill for him. Firstly, obviously, with Pfeffer with that audacious move, to say the least, and then it's pretty standard in racing, isn't it? If you get caught up in something, you get a bit heated, you're a bit angry that you've lost time, and then you make another mistake. Unfortunately for Honzik, that happened to him, down to 16th, and I'm sure that the stewards will be slapping him with a penalty soon. Pfeffer has been given a 5-second penalty, which I think was the biggest slam dunk possible, and Debicor there. So unfortunate for Honzik. Just getting a little bit too aggressive on the curbs there was Honzik, and car unsettled and straight into the rear.
Yeah, well, he just bounced straight over it. It's like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater for a minute there. Just bounced over the curb and just T-boned poor Debicor. So not really much Debicor could have done about that. But yeah, you spotted it there. Pfeffer does have that 5-second penalty, which will be added to his pit stop time, and that will drop him down. Ooh, actually behind Honzik. But I think Honzik's probably going to receive exactly the same. So they'll both be fighting each other in the second half of this race, maybe a bit further back. But right now, if you want to see action, just get on board with Congratel, because that seems to be where the action's happening. Whether it be him being overtaken or him making overtakes, or maybe a bit of contact with other drivers around him, Congratel seems to be a bit of a magnet for action.
Certainly is, and Larito's probably thinking, just go away, Congratel. I'm just trying to win my class here. Leave me alone. I don't want any of your action or silliness or being involved in contact. But Larito is the head of this little train, and of course, dragging these two cars along, Congratel and Pfeffer. Of course, Foch 14th at the moment, and roughly just 4.5-5 seconds behind Larito at the moment, so it's not completely out of touch for Foch, but Larito at the moment holding on to this class lead, and very good through that chicane as well. And it looks like Congratel could come under a bit of pressure from Pfeffer here.
Yeah, this is going to be, you know, for drivers like Congratel, once he gets to the end of this race, he is just going to be like psychologically drained, because he's not had a chance of just running laps. It is a case of he's just been under pressure or putting pressure on for the entirety of this race so far. We're only 25 minutes in. We've still got 2/3 of it to go. As we see here, a battle for the lead. We've seen these change positions twice so far. Are we about to see it happen for a third time? So there we go, through the Villeneuve chicane. Now we're heading down towards Tosa. Is there the opportunity for a move? I think right now they're going to be very clever with each other, and you know, it has to be 100% on. Otherwise, there's no point in doing it. As we see here, a battle on the other side of our screens. This will be for P7. Narcos in behind Grantas Caracas. Two Ferraris battling for, again, that 7th position. And we're just seeing battles all over the place here. This is gone a little bit above my expectations, I must admit. My voice just about hanging in there. If you're at home wondering why my voice is so croaky, I'd actually lost it for 3 weeks. It came back on Sunday. Did a broadcast Sunday, and it nearly went again. So I'm trying to recover, guys. I'm trying my absolute best. But when people are racing like this, I get too excited, and ultimately, if it goes, it goes.
So if you don't hear any more from Luke, it's not because he's muted, it's because he's muted in real life because he's lost his voice. So, but well done, Luke. Clinging on, 53 minutes to go.
Most people are like, oh, please lose your voice, Luke. Please lose your voice.
Absolutely not. But as you can see on the left-hand side of your screens, I was about to talk about how Osterman and Roters had a really big opportunity to perhaps break the slipstream to Boothby behind. But I feel like Osterman's not really had the best of laps there. Roters was all over the back of him. And now Boothby has just slotted back into that slipstream, 0.6 of a second behind. Tan's made a couple of tenths up since I last looked as well. So this front three not had the fastest lap ever, which Tan will be just trying to set the fastest lap he possibly can to try and get within that nice bit of advantage that you can get just by sitting in this train. But for now, just you can see him there in the Mercedes saying, guys, come on, just one little overtake, please. Go on, Road, just send one up the inside. Just slow us down a little bit. Let's make it a bit more fun. But right now, they're not listening to him.
Looks like Oprah Winfrey's taken over the penalty situation because there's another 5 seconds being handed out there to Honzik. You have a penalty. You have a penalty. Everybody has a penalty. And I'm sure as the race does indeed go on and the desperation for those prizes becomes a little bit more fraught, then of course we'll see more people making mistakes or indeed trying to send it up the inside. A very tough place to make an overtake, as Matt's brought up a couple of times. So yeah, you have to kind of manufacture one yourself. Front two though, they were battling very closely. Rotters was very close to Osterman. The final sector on the previous lap was very good from Osterman. He kind of built that gap up a little bit again. But Boothby is the one to watch out for. Pit stop phase in this race is going to be absolute. Oh, well, that's again, we're seeing another incident into the final chicane there. Variante Alta and Narkle. I'm not sure that was the nicest of overtakes there. I'm not sure he needed a second invitation to have a go there either. Ultimately, they did have a bit of contact, and congratulations, you may be welcoming a baby Ferrari into the world in 9 months' time.
We're going to get a replay here, and I mean, relatively, both of them got away with this despite the ferocious bouncing. A little bit of a love tap on the front, and off you go again. So, I'm not sure if that's how you think race cars breed, Luke, but hey, we've just seen it.
Well, where they come from? Where do race cars come from, Matt, if that's not how they breed?
That's true. Well, when one loves the other very much. 51 minutes to go.
When the mummy Ferrari loves the daddy Ferrari. I will say one thing. Not many of these drivers have watched Kamil Pavlovsky's track guide, because he said stay away from the yellow sausage curbs. And ultimately, every incident we see in the that chicane is someone having too much sausage. So, not ideal.
Not ideal at all. Let's see if there's another 5-second penalty coming our way as well after that incident. I'm sure it will be investigated. That's a mistake, though. That's a mistake from Roters. Really bad into Aqua Minerale there. We've cut away. It's in the small box. You can see Boothby all over the back here. And that might well open up an opportunity for Osterman to get away here as we head into Variante Alta. And Boothby can smell an opportunity. Yeah,
Boothby will, I think, look to try and make a move, because not only has Rotters been making some mistakes, so has Osterman, and Boothby has been pretty smooth. Doesn't look like he's driving, he's still driving within himself. I think the front two are pushing a little bit too hard. So Boothby will now be looking to try and make a move here. The toe will be very, very slight for Rotters. I think we might see a potential opportunity here. So Boothby going across the start-finish line. The higher the gears get, the bigger the slipstream will become. And as we head then down in towards turn number one, he might be saved here by a back marker. He's not quite going to get close enough to make a move, and there's no real opportunity in terms of track usage because of the back marker there. And I think that might be Tobias Pfeffer, actually, wasn't it? Not? As we got now, oh yeah, Abi Narkle, he's got a 5-second penalty there for what we saw in the Variante Alta. But yeah, Boothby, I think, would have liked the track to be open into turn number one there to maybe force a mistake there from Rotters. So Rotters got away with one, but it's only a matter of time for me, because I think they've lost the toe now to Osterman. So this now does leave Rotters under some severe pressure.
It certainly does. I think what we saw there is that Boothby, despite being tucked into the slipstream of Rotters, just didn't have the straight line speed, didn't really close whatsoever. So I think that's pretty much. Oh, we've got a mistake there from Harteveld on the right-hand side, but it basically says that Boothby's going to have to try a move somewhere else. He doesn't have the straight line speed to simply pass into the first couple of corners, so instead might have to try and catch Roters completely off guard here. And I wonder if there might be some team radio from Rotters just saying, look, Osterman, come on, we're mates here. Do you want to just slow down a little bit? Give me the slipstream. Do you know how we said we were going to work together? I feel like there's plenty of conversations going on. But Osterman right now doesn't look like he wants to help anyone but himself.
No, 100%. Do you know what? Oh, this wouldn't be a bad time to bring Rotters in. You know, we're nearing the halfway point of this race anyway, and this might be a nice opportunity just to sort of split the strategy a little bit. None of the leaders have decided to come in. The only driver, well, there's two now. Grantas Caracas has actually come through the pits, and so has Tobias Pfeffer. Where is Pfeffer in the race? Well, he's actually outside the top 23 now, so I'm wondering if he actually hasn't bothered to come back out. So yeah, we've had only one driver come in, but now decisions need to be made here. So Rotters under some severe pressure. The gap's come out 0.2 of a second on that previous lap as well. So the real winner in this situation is Jakob Osterman. So he now leads out, and I'm not going to. I don't know if I want to jinx it, but I did predict Osterman to win this race.
So. I was about to say you've nailed it so far.
I get one thing right every year, so I don't want to get it right this early in the year, because otherwise the rest of the year is a bit of a write-off.
Yes, well, we still have 47 minutes to go, so I'm sure Osterman's saying, please stop saying I'm going to win. We've got plenty of time left for things to change. But you do make a good point. Why not try something a little bit different now for Rotters that goes a little bit wide there, but gets away with it? Because right now, he has lost the slipstream to Osterman ahead and is very much under pressure from Boothby. Tan still tantalisingly close to getting involved with these two, but just can't get close enough. 1.3 seconds. It stayed there for quite a while, despite the battling. Tan just doesn't really have the race pace to close in at the moment.
Jaroslav Honzik then behind his friend Samir Foch, looking to try and make up a position there. Again, this would not be, wouldn't make any difference in terms of the pro category. Honzik, so I found out the exact issue here. Honzik was actually supposed to be a content creator, but he signed up for the wrong class on his own. So that's why he's in the pro category, and because he signed up in the pro category, he is classed as a pro driver now. Just to let you all know. Also, we have a giveaway. If you have your blower on, if you're watching on your PC right now, you can get your phone out, scan that QR code. I think you have to do it on your camera or something. I'm too old to understand that sort of stuff. But then it will take you to the giveaway, and you can win. And we'll announce that near the end of this race. Hey, Matt, I'm over 30.
Or you can type exclamation mark giveaway if you're not using another device.
Exactly. If you're old like me.
I actually really enjoyed the way you just tried to explain the QR code. That was brilliant.
Is that wrong?
No, it was. It's just the way you were like, you just like take a picture of it or something, and then it miraculously wins you a wheel potentially. So.
Yeah, just to clarify, guys, I'm not sure that you exactly win, but yeah, something magical happens, guys, and then you might get your name right out there on. So I don't really want to tell you the ins and outs of the QR code. I'm sure you all know that yourselves.
But it is worth saying that the winner will be drawn at the end of this stream, so you won't be waiting loads of time to find out if you've won. Just stick around to the end of the stream and we will draw the winner. So stay tuned for that and get involved, exclamation mark giveaway, or use the QR code, as we have a backmarker getting very involved with Boothby's race there, and that has really unsettled him coming out of Variante Alta, and that is an opportunity now for Rotters to get away and perhaps even gained a little bit on Osterman with the backmarkers now getting involved. And this is another element of the race now that we've not really had too much.
No, that is true. Just the best comment of the day so far, by the way. Spip, he said, send a fax to the Thrustmaster HQ to participate in the giveaway. We're not able to do telegrams these days.
Won't win.
Yeah. Oh, God, faxing. Osterman's into the pits. So the first of our leaders has blinked here. Osterman has decided to come into the pits. I say first of our leaders, the leader is in. So now this is where things get interesting. If you Boothby, do you stay out a couple of laps now and try and gain an advantage? Because the first couple of laps after a pit stop are a bit slower. So the overcut will be a little bit stronger. Or if you Boothby, do you think you can do enough in one lap, get that track position, and ultimately then go out there and win this race? He had about 2 and a bit seconds to sort of catch up. So right now, Boothby is in a bit of a predicament. Rotters, does Rotters follow his teammate straight away? Tobias Pfeffer is a DNF. So officially a DNF then. Such a shame. Our pole sitter involved in an incident earlier on in this race and kind of was just trying to chase down a position that just wasn't attainable, and had a bit of contact with Jaroslav Honzik, and it just went from bad to worse. But Pfeffer, he'll be back stronger, that's for sure. He's one of the very best, not by mistake, as we've got a drive-through penalty for Chris Hartefeld. Oh, not ideal.
Something to keep an eye on here, as the back markers continue to get involved, is that Boothby had actually lost a lot of time, was 1 second behind Rotters, but now with that back marker is right behind him again, and this may well play into the hands even more of Osterman, depending on how much traffic Osterman has come out the pits with. But Rotters has lost a lot of time here. This has really opened up an opportunity not just for Boothby, but also Tan as well, who's negotiated the traffic a little bit better. There's only 9/10 back now, and is very much back in the fight for these podium positions.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think this is going to work out nicely for these drivers here. I think Osterman, where has Osterman come out? That'd be interesting. It might be worth getting on. Oh, he's got a gap. He's behind Caracas. Well, hold on a minute then. So
Wait,
Osterman
what?
has lost out hugely, and Caracas is ahead. So what's happened to Osterman here for him to be he's 3.6 seconds behind?
Behind Caracas, who was involved in the incident, no?
Caracas came in very, very early in this race. Now, he was battling for 7th position. He was battling with Vasner. Him and Vasner were battling for the entirety of the first stint. He's coming early, and ultimately, I'm wondering if Osterman's changed tyres and Caracas didn't. So Osterman will be faster near the end of this race, but that might be the difference in strategy here. I think Caracas has decided to not change tyres, whereas Osterman has. So you would imagine that gap comes down. You imagine that Osterman will gain a position, but that is information, because Caracas is a driver with Boothby. So Boothby will be getting that information. So this could play into the hands of Boothby. And also Rotters will learn, don't change your tyres.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because I think we both assumed that they wouldn't be taking a set of tyres, but...
I could be wrong, Matt. I've already got, again, I get one thing right a year, so it's either Osterman's going to win this race or the strategy call.
I was going to say, you might have thrown that in the bin already, because almost immediately after you said you got it right, Osterman's now technically not leading this race. But we will see how this one unfolds. Rotters and Tan carry on, and there's Lorito in 9th place at the moment, after a few pit stops have happened, which is... very, very strong for him. Still fighting along with Congratel. In fact, Congratel's got through up into 8th. And his Rotters, Boothby and Tan, they're carrying on. When do they blink? And what do they decide to do? That's the biggest question here. Do they take tyres or do they not?
Well, they can stay out for at least 20 more minutes, maybe even 25 minutes if they fill the tank up. They might even be able to go a little bit longer if they saved a bit of fuel. There's no max or min stint time for these drivers. So they will stay, if they want to stay out for a long period of time, they will. And if they have filled up and they've decided they're not going to change tyres, that will also be a case of they stay out as long as they possibly can. I wouldn't imagine that they will come in early at all. Again, I want to see Osterman's gap. He's caught 0.3 of a second up to Caracas. That really isn't quick enough in terms of the strategy call there, to be honest, because Caracas was a fair chunk of time behind our race leaders. So Osterman here may have made a mistake. Of course, the tyres are going to fall off significantly over the next 40 minutes. But it's not really Caracas he's got to try and catch up to, because he's now actually, well, hold on, what's happened here? No, it's now 2.8 seconds, so the gap is coming down, so maybe I'm wrong. All I know is this is very interesting, Matt. The race was already very interesting, and we are going to be in for a grandstand finish. Strategy has been a big factor, which I didn't think it was going to be a huge factor, but it seems to be the case.
Absolutely. As long as anything that we say in terms of analysis, we just preface it with maybe we're wrong, it's absolutely fine, isn't it? We can just say what we want. So maybe we are wrong, but it is going to be fascinating. We've got Honzik here fighting along with Bouquet, it seems, there, as on the left-hand side, lots more cars going down towards turn number 1. Boothby still within touching distance of Rotters, as there is a move from Honzik up to 9th place. So
takes Bouquet,
lots of different things going on.
Yeah. Debacor, that bouquet of flowers to say sorry.
Yeah, love that.
It's very nice what he did earlier on.
And they could both come into the pits. Maybe they will share flowers.
I don't understand, like, why are you so desperate to make a move there when you know you're coming into the pits? You get clear entry, but you just lost yourself time for very little gain. But I guess he would have been behind and he would have made a lost time going into the pits. But hey, there's a reason why I'm talking about it and not in the race.
Hey, maybe we're wrong.
Maybe we're wrong indeed, Matt. Maybe we're wrong indeed. Right on board with George Boothby. There's a nice awkward little pause there. Love that. Right, Boothby now half a second behind Rotter. So Rotter seems to have figured it out a little bit, but they are dealing with traffic now that have pit. So not only have they got cars that are a little bit slower, that are a full lap down, but they're also dealing with cars that have pit. So the cars will be very fast because some of them will have fresher tyres on, and ultimately that means that they will find it a bit more difficult to make that overtake. Because in endurance racing, which this game is based on, you don't have to really get out the way. You kind of expect the faster car to make the overtake. So this could hurt them a little bit as they both decide to bring the car into the pits. Here we go. Now we're going to find out where we stand in this race as Boothby aggressively catches a little bit of time up there to Rotters. So where are Osterman? And well, he's now 1.5 seconds behind Caracas. I think these two don't change their tyres, to be completely honest. Osterman is the one to watch out for because Caracas will play the team game and try and slow Osterman down here to help Boothby out.
Well, he is flying along, but we did see earlier that Pfeffer, who was much quicker in terms of raw speed behind Honzik, just could not get through. So Osterman is all well and good finding a car and chasing up to them and being within a second. It's another thing trying to make that overtake. So let's see how quickly Osterman can get through on Caracas, and we wait to see the decision from Rotters and Boothby. Do they take fresh tyres or do they continue on with the set that they have? And it very much is then a time trial between Osterman on fresh tyres and then the two drivers that, well, weren't leading this race, but they might well be able to work together, but they don't really want to because they're not in the same team. Here they come then, out of the pits, and where do they filter out?
Osterman's got them. Osterman's got them, and Caracas has got them. So they are going to be behind Osterman. Caracas is the only driver that has not changed, is stayed on the same tyres here, and he's put himself in the lead in this race. So now he's got 30 minutes to defend. It's going to be very difficult, especially on the exit of Rivazza and that run down towards turn 1 and turn 2 into Tamburello. But Caracas has given himself a chance.
Certainly has, and well, Osterman's going to want to get through as soon as possible because he has Rotters and Boothby on slightly fresher tyres out of the pits and wanting to catch up to him as soon as possible. You can see the two fighting just ahead there. How quickly can Osterman get through on Caracas? This is the crucial point here.
Yeah, we've got Naga then with a drive-through penalty. We're saying Crown says Osterman must have blundered his pit. Definitely not. He's managed to gain time on Boothby and indeed Rotters, who he was battling with. He was only half a second ahead of them when he came into the pit, so he's gained time on them. It's Caracas. Caracas has not changed his tyres. He's managed to gain an advantage here. So no one's blundered. It is just a case of Caracas has tried something different. It's worked out in terms of track position, but look at this. Osterman looking to try and take the net lead of this race. Of course, we've got Jimenez, we've got Larito and Dylan Tan all still out there on the circuit. We come down then towards Rivazza, the entry in Rivazza. There's contact between the two of them. It's aggressively done. And I'm not sure that that'll be looked too much into. From what we saw on lap number 1, we saw more contact there and it was a no further action. Jakob Osterman now into the lead of this race.
Yeah, I need to see a replay of that before really trying to analyse whether there was anything wrong done there from Osterman, as Caracas in the slipstream once again, but you can't fight that, especially on worn tyres compared to Osterman, who is absolutely flying out there now, and he will clear off into the distance, and you can just see Rotters and Boothby in the background there. So where's Tan going to come out in all of this? Because Tan has not pitted and has carried on for a much longer first stint, which will, yeah, it's going to be interesting. 26 seconds clear of Larito, who also hasn't pitted from the lead of the content creator class. So keep an eye out for those two, because we're not entirely sure where they will filter out and whether they have a strong end to their stint.
Well, the fact that Dylan Tan's staying out as long as he has says to me he's not going to change tyres, because obviously if you change tyres, you want to get the benefit of pretty much going 50-50, right? There's no point in running tyres into the ground and being slow at the second half of a stint and then having just a 20-minute stint at the end of the race on fresh tyres. You want to kind of split it 50-50. And I think the only way Dylan Tan does win this race is by trying that strategy. Caracas has probably gained about 15 seconds on this front group. If Tan could be out ahead by 10 seconds with 30 minutes to go in this race, I find it very difficult to believe anyone's going to beat him. So Dylan Tan might have put himself in a position here to win this race.
Oh, you've teed it up beautifully, Luke. I think with 33 minutes to go, you don't want to be going anywhere because you want to be seeing exactly how this unfolds. For those of you that are just joining, welcome. This is the Thrustmaster GT Race. Prizes up for grabs for both the content creators, which are the red shaded numbers you can see on the left-hand side, and the pro drivers, the white numbers you can see on the left-hand side, as we now have Lorito in the pits. Prizes up and down from first, second and third for both classes. The pros get a split of €2,000. First getting 1,250, second getting 500, and third getting €250. And in the AM class, which is the content creator class, first place gets a Thrustmaster T818 wheel with custom plates and a Ferrari 488 GT3 wheel. For second place, it's a Ferrari SF1000 wheel. Oh, hello. What's going on here?
Dylan's in the pits.
Finally, we're going to get to see them.
Exactly where he is. That is exactly what's going to happen now, guys. We're going to see Dylan come out. Again, apologies for cutting over your Matt. I got a little bit too excited there. But if Dylan doesn't change his tyres, I think he's going to be out significantly ahead of this group. He will then, of course, be caught, or they will be faster than him. You can see the difference in fresh tyres and not so fresh tyres there through the corners. So there is Caracas. Yes, keep this camera like this. I want to see the merge between the front group, which is led by Osterman, Caracas, Rotters, and Boothby, and then we'll see when Dylan Tan comes out of the pits. Is he going to start moving any time soon? They're coming down towards the back now.
Is he going to take him?
Well, he hasn't got up on his jacks, so that says to me he's not changed his tyres. So I think he still will come out pretty close. We need to see that merge. We need to see Dylan Tan on screen here as we come around the final part of Rivazza. Dylan Tan has pit now. He is moving. He is moving. So Jakob Osterman leads, is in the leader of this group. But did Dylan Tan come out ahead of them? That is the question. Dylan Tan has come out ahead. We're about to see the merge. Did he do it? No, he's not. No, he's behind them, so he has changed his tyres. So he is going to be faster than this group. As Rotters now looking to try and move up into P2, squeezes Caracas onto the apex. Caracas didn't leave too much room there, as it's now 3 wide, and wow, Caracas is just pool cued or cue balled Rotters into the side there of Caracas, Boothby off onto the grass there, and ultimately Caracas holds onto the position, and Dylan Tan is the winner in that situation, because now he's up to 4th with Caracas running very slow. And Matt, you can take the replay from here.
Yeah, this was not clean at all. Rotters, wheel banging with Caracas there, door banging. Boothby sees an opportunity round the outside, and then there's more contact, which then causes Boothby to go off. Tan says, thank you very much. I will take that position on fresh tyres as well. Caracas is fighting for all his worth at the moment, and fair play. There's no prizes for anything past 3rd place. Caracas now coming under more pressure from Rotters. 30 minutes to go, and you can already see Caracas's tyres are pleading for help compared to the drivers behind. But it's bringing them all nicely together, and Osterman has gained a couple of seconds with this. It was around 2, it's now up to 4, and the fight for P2 is really where our focus is at now.
Yeah, you can see here that Rotters is just trying to there's contact between the two of them. The Caracas has to brake a lot more because of his old tyres, and you've got to be aware of that as Rotters. You can't try and force anything. I think Caracas is going to be looking at 2 sets of 5 penalties from that. I think he was at fault for both of them from my perspective, but again, I've only seen it once, whereas the race directors get to see it many times. And now the Aston Martin with that straight line speed. Now you've got to pinch Caracas onto the apex. He's got the slight overlap, actually. Bonnet slightly ahead. Caracas is going to make this difficult, but those fresh tyres, well, actually, the fresh tyres aren't going to work out too well, as there is contact between Caracas and indeed Dylan Tan. And well, it's Rotters that ends up off the circuit. It's 3 wide, a bit further ahead, and Dylan Tan lost out to Boothby. So now Boothby and Caracas are in contact between them two. Caracas with the old tyres is going to lose out. Dylan Tan gets straight across the bonnet, and Boothby has just gained 3 spots in the space of about 3 corners. And ultimately, Caracas then gets a run on Dylan Tan. Is Caracas going to be able to attack Boothby here? I don't think he will with the tyre difference. But that was, well, messy, to say the very least.
Oh, it really was. It was absolutely gloves off between those 4, and Caracas has caused all kinds of carnage with this different strategy, and that's really what he's had to do. That's what he needed to do, was unsettle them. He's seen Rotters go into the wall here, which is it was a big impact, and he's now down to 6th place. Vasna up to 5th. And Caracas, if he can just somehow escape not getting 5,000 seconds worth of penalties, we'll keep an eye out on that, then maybe he's on for a really good result. But still, the odds are stacked against him, with Tan bearing down on him. with Boothby now very much clearing away, and it's 7.2 seconds now, the gap between Osterman and Boothby, the real winner here, as we now take a look at a replay. And this, Rotters, yep, just running wide. So I think we did say about damage not being too much, but that was a hefty hit into the wall.
Yeah, 100% there. So Rotters now dropping down to P6, and that gives Dylan Tan now the opportunity to move up into the top three. I think Caracas is going to receive a penalty. No dramas with that. So Dylan Tan, I think, naturally is going to move up into those podium positions and win himself 250 euros. But can he go and close down on George Boothby and double his winnings? It really is as simple as that. Caracas, though, is making this very difficult indeed, knowing that he's probably going to have a penalty to contend with. There is contact between the two of them once again. Dylan Tan, though, he's not going to corner him. He's got the inside line, though, as we run up the hill on the exit of Tosa down towards Piratella. Now we're about to see the Mercedes finally get ahead of the Ferrari. We do. Dylan Tan breaks a little bit later, and Grantas Caracas just does not have the tyres underneath him to really attack that. But he's done a good job for Boothby. Boothby has now got a gap of, I think, about 2.5 seconds. It is. There we go, 2.3 seconds. But the big winner with this big battle is Jakob Osterman. He was only a second ahead once they came out of the pit, and in 3 laps, is now 7.2.
Sadly for Rotters in the pits after that incident, and that is curtains for their chances of any kind of result, which is sad considering what a strong race Rotters had put in up until that point. His teammate, of course, Osterman, very much the winner out of all of that. 27 minutes to go, and Tan should, in theory, clear away now from Caracas, and will very, very happily see that car disappearing in his rearview mirror, because Caracas has caused all kinds of carnage out there, and we will keep an eye on the list of incidents here from the race direction. Nothing as of right now. I imagine this particular one is wrong, because it's saying that Osterman has been accused of something, but I don't think Osterman's done anything wrong. 7 seconds clear down the road. So we'll wait to see if the stewards update that to something, but definitely Caracas involved in a lot of different incidents there, and I'm sure they're going through the replays right now.
Yeah, Caracas has kind of forfeited the control of his car by having the older tyres. So he's tried to get track position, and ultimately it just means in the battle it's a lot more difficult for him to hold the tighter line. It is still his responsibility. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to excuse him of anything in that regard. But yeah, it was just messy. It really was messy. I've just realised that Samir Foch is in the other Ferrari. He's in the 488. We've got the 296 and the 488 on track, and it's taken me the best part of an hour to realise that we've got both Ferraris on the circuit at the same time.
Foch running very well indeed, currently 11th, 5.6 seconds, actually a little bit more than that actually. I was about to say 5.8 behind Lorito, so that gap hasn't really expanded all too much for the class win in the content creator segment of this Thrustmaster GT race. We're now riding on board with Honzik, who's had his fair share of events throughout this race. Of course, Honzik had to get that 5-second penalty earlier and has served that. As you can see, no +5 on the screen. That is wide from Foch, and Honzik's going to try and take advantage of that. Of course, they're not fighting in the same class, but Honzik will want to get through anyway, and does. And Foch decides against going side by side into that chicane, because we've seen plenty of times already today that does not work.
No, it certainly doesn't. Foch there just getting out of the way effectively. He's currently second in the content creator class, which would win him a Ferrari SF 1000 wheel, which is worth 350 euros, which is pretty good. Granted, Caracas, by the way, a 5-second penalty. So the one that was accused of Jakob Osterman was the move for the lead into Ravazza, so he had to make the move, didn't he? There's a little nudge on the entry, but it was nothing too crazy. That was what was under investigation. It was a warning. We've also got Grantas Caracas, who is going to receive, I think, 2 5-second penalties. No, Dylan Tan is going to receive a 5-second penalty. So Caracas and Dylan Tan are both receiving 5-second penalties.
Wow. Okay, so that evens it out then. Of course, Caracas is going to continue to lose time to Tan on those older tyres, so would have been interesting to at least see if Caracas could slow that deficit down. But
this brings Vasner into play here. He needs to catch up by a second to Dylan Tan, and he would effectively get onto the podium.
Yeah, what's Vasner's pace like? We'll keep an eye out on that one. Dylan Tan should be the driver to finish in P3, should everything go well. But we know that if we catch, as we've seen plenty of times already, if you catch a back marker at the wrong time, it can cost you a few seconds, and that might be the difference between 3rd and 4th place. And remember, 3rd place gets you a bit of a cash prize of €250.
Yeah, 100%. You prefer to get €250 than 0. That is for certain. It looks like P1's going to be wrapped up, though. 23 minutes to go, unless there's a huge mistake or maybe someone gets involved in a back marker. We're on board then with Siggy Lentes, who you might know him as HC Dizzy, trying to make a move then on Kyle Lowe down towards turn number 1, or I guess turn number 2 effectively. And well, neither of them want to really budge through there. They both make a little bit of an error, and they are going to stay in the same formation that they were previously. But yeah, nice little battle. Nice to see that we've still got battles for P18. So all the way through the grid, we've got people battling for position. Having a look at the Vasner situation with Dylan Tan, the gap's come out to about 1.5 seconds now. So yeah, it looks like Tan is still running quicker than Vasner. And I think Vasner, with the fresher tyres, will probably catch up to Caracas and then lose time there. So Dylan Tan, even though he's got a 5-second penalty, should still be okay to hold on to that final podium spot.
So despite Lowe and Lentes fighting for 18th and 19th, it is technically for 4th and 5th in class. So should something go wrong with Lorito, Foch or Sampson, then there might be a prize coming their way. So it might well be something. The amount of times they've nearly crashed is quite impressive in the last half a lap. Lentes a bit more confident on the brakes, let's say, than Lowe, but it's almost ended in an incident both times, and through the chicane we go. And just about even Stevens, I'd say. Maybe Lentes a slight bit better. And with the slipstream, a bit of a grass pickup as well, a bit of dirt. Love that. Trying to minimise the length of this circuit. But good to see these two still fighting hard in the content creator class as we take a look at our race leader on the right, Jakob Osterman.
Yeah, very nearly was a low blow there for Kyle Lowe. But ultimately, they're all still good. They're still running. Yeah, I love a dad joke. There's a reason why I'm a dad, guys, just to do dad jokes. Simple as that. Yeah, you see Siggy trying to get that slipstream. Was a little bit closer last time around and didn't manage to make it work. And Kyle Lowe is going to hang on a little bit of a fake there just to kind of get into the brain of Kyle Lowe. And he has done. There's a little bit of a mistake there. We've got Redoin as well, who is DNF in this race. These two still battling for what would be P18, which is fantastic to see. And I'm actually looking at this. This would be, so Kyle Lowe right now is 4th overall in the class, isn't he? So he's 4th overall in the class. So if one person makes a mistake, there is a chance for a podium. So right now, Lorito is leading, Foch 2nd, and David Sampson is in 3rd. So realistically, you need one of those 3 to make a mistake. But this is a battle for the final position to take advantage of that mistake.
Certainly is. Caracas has gained another 5-second penalty to add to his roster. He's now on 10. And I imagine that might well be the end of the penalties, but we will wait to see from the stewards if there's any more updates. But Lentes and Lowe continue to fight along here as into Variante Alta we go. And we now take a look further forward to Honzik, who is trying to break into the top 10. He would already be in the top 10 if it wasn't for the incident earlier on, and is still continuing to fight with Bouquet.
Well, Honzik's going to be a little bit sick about this because he would be right now winning a Ferrari SF 1000 wheel, again worth €350. But because he signed up with the wrong class, that means he won't win it because he's racing in the pros.
Always read the terms and conditions.
Yeah, well, there is that. But the fact that he would even be in with a chance after some of the issues we've seen in this race is quite ridiculous. To be honest, Congratel, who's been involved in pretty much all of it, who's currently in P8. I think for the first time, Congratel's actually got a bit of breathing room. So yeah, the Congratel's been through it today, hasn't he? He's been through the ringer. But yeah, P8 right now doing pretty good.
Yeah, considering everything we've seen for Congratel, for him to be in P8 is quite the achievement. Now, one thing that's probably not massive, but I'm going to mention it anyway, Osterman's lead has come down to 5 seconds. Now, that still is a lot, don't get me wrong, as a yellow flag is being waved, that's now gone. It was 7.5. So I wonder if Osterman is catching some back markers at the wrong time and this lead is slimming down. But one to keep an eye on now and see if Boothby can continue to make inroads on the current race leader.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, like I said earlier, don't give Boothby an opportunity. Don't give him, you know, anything to chase. Don't give him that carrot to give him an extra motivation in going out there and winning the race, because he is a monster. He's one of the very best to ever do it on this sim. It is as simple as that. So if you're Jakob Osterman, if you're just trying to coast your way to the finish line, not sure that is the best plan of action. But again, there's a reason why I'm talking about it, and I'm not in the race. There's a reason why Jakob Osterman is leading this race.
Well, we're talking about it, and it's now under 5 seconds, 4.9, so we can continue to raise our voice slightly and see if it continues to come down and we get a showdown at the end of this. 4.8. All right, here we go then. Every time it updates, a tenth comes down. Boothby is smelling an opportunity with 18 minutes to go. And the other one we've been looking out for is Vasner, who is now 3-4 seconds back now from what he needs to potentially overthrow Dylan Tan for third place. Honzik, you can see here in the slipstream of Bouquet, trying to get through into that top 10. As you say, kicking himself that he didn't pick the right creator class. I did find it strange that he was in the pro driver class. No disrespect to him, just more the fact that I thought he slotted more into the content creator category. And I now look back to Boothby and it's 4.7. Luke, can we get excited yet?
Yeah, I think you can get a bit excited there. But don't mention pace with Honzik. You'll have people making tweets about you. So be careful about that there, Mr. Matt. But yeah, Osterman being caught. 4.7 seconds now is the difference between the front two. It is a tenth of a second being taken out every single sector. The lap times are around about 1 minute 40. So we've got 8 laps to go. Maybe we've got 8 laps. 9 laps to go, maybe 10. So let's say 10. 3 sectors per lap. So that would be 3 seconds over the course of those sectors if it continues, because it is now 4.6 seconds. So it would be close. And as soon as you start seeing a car getting bigger in your rearview mirror, you might start to lose a bit more time. So maybe, just maybe, there is a fight that we have in the last 16 minutes of this race.
Basner's got through on Caracas, which I'm sure he's very happy to get through on that stricken Ferrari. Stricken in the sense of those tyres are pleading for help, but still, 5th place. If you'd taken away those 10 seconds worth of penalties, it might well have been the right decision for Caracas. Tried to really put his elbows out to make a top 3 finish, but it didn't work out. And Honzik this time, can he get into the top 10? We're heading down towards turn number 1. The power as we now head into the first corner, but cannot get through. The straight line speed of the Aston Martin is very, very good indeed. Can he get the inside line? He's trying to stick a nose in, and he might well just get through on Bouquet here. I think Honzik's definitely going for this, surely. No, doesn't decide. Decides against it, which is probably the wise decision, but I just wanted an overtake, you know what I mean?
He's probably had the PTSD from the last time he tried to make a move into that corner.
That's very true, yeah.
As we see a lovely switch back here, though.
Hello.
That door did just open up. He runs off into the grass, and it's unfortunate, actually. But they've got to be careful here, because Nevercore is starting to close that gap. But this is really nice racing from Honzik and from Bouquet. Again, it's not really for anything in terms of prizes, but the fact that they're still putting on a show and racing as cleanly as they are.
It's down to 3.7.
Really good.
It's down to 3.7. We've got a race on our hands here. Osterman's lead is going away much faster than we expected, and Boothby is flying out there.
Has Osterman underfueled here? Has he underfueled and he's trying to save fuel now? That might be a factor here, because he is dropping time, and I don't think he's going through any back market traffic. We've not been on board with Osterman for a while, so I can't really tell exactly what is going on with him. But whatever's happening, it is not good. That is a hell of a big loss of time. It's gone back up to 3.7, but Osterman needs to start figuring it out, because this race might be slipping away from him.
It'd certainly be amazing to get an onboard of Osterman if we can, just to see if there is this fuel saving that you've suggested.
Ruby will have better tyres, remember, as well, because Osterman did pit early. So
yeah, better tyres. It wasn't a massive change there, was it, between the two of them? It wasn't the biggest overcut from Boothby that we've seen, but 3.4 now, as we see finally Honzik getting through on Bouquet up to P10. But it is, every time that interval updates, a few tenths is slipping away for Osterman. This is game on.
It certainly is game on, which I'm very, very much excited to see. That's a lovely move there by Honzik, by the way. And you can see that Bouquet is going to try and reciprocate. Not going to be able to turn in early there. And Honzik's just going to use that Aston and use the power up the hill to just hold on to the position. Really nice job there. But how close to Debicor now? It's only 1.6 seconds behind, so he's now going to get involved in this battle for the lead. Dylan Tan now 2 seconds behind. Oh, it's a bit of a argy-bargy then, as Naga gets ahead there of Lowe. So Naga ahead now of Lowe, or Lowe's trying to make a move there. Naga's going to hold on to that position. Dylan Tan is closing in on Boothby. I know he's got a 5-second penalty, but he's actually going quicker than Boothby. So this might be a proper grandstand finish as we get a look here at the overtake from Honzik.
Oh, imagine if Tan gets involved in the front two, and then he'll be kicking himself that he's got that 5-second penalty, because, yeah, as you say, it will be a grandstand finish with the top two, but it could have been for the top three. It is 3 seconds now, with 13 minutes just under left to go in this race. Boothby will be able to see Osterman, and every corner, he'll just see that slight marginal gain. That will be motivating him. Remember, €1,250 on the line for P1 in this race, 500 for second. It's a big old gap, and I know for sure that Boothby will be wanting that. Let's see what it updates to. 2.9. Here we go.
It's €750 difference. Even the chat has started to get excited, by the way. This is good. This is the last 12 minutes. Might set us up nicely. First ever Thrustmaster GT race. Maybe first of many, who knows? But as it stands, we are going to have a grandstand finish. It's Grantas Caracas, who is now ahead of Dylan Tan again. Oh, no, sorry, that's Andika Maulana behind him now. Of course, running in the same car as his teammate Dylan Tan. Dylan Tan, the gap's come down by 1/10 of a second to Boothby as well. Again, 5-second penalty for Dylan Tan, so it's not going to make too much of a difference, but he's absolutely flying here. But Osterman, maybe, going to be under a little bit of pressure.
I think so. 2.3. That's a whole 6/10 lost in that one update there. we is on, and we're not just hyping this up because we're trying to in the last 11 minutes. Boothby is flying out there. Osterman is struggling. Tan's coming with him as well. I don't know what's Tan going to do. I'm sure probably not a lot, because he'll have to clear and gain 5 seconds on the pair of them. But wow, okay, what's Boothby going to be able to do? Oh, he's lost some time again. 3.4.
Oh, wow. Okay, so. I'm not too sure what's going on.
Tan's right behind. What's going on here, Luke?
Right behind. Boothby's just dropped off the track somewhere. He has dropped off the track here somewhere. Now Dylan Tan's going to be right in behind Boothby. There we go. So now the gap between the front two is still coming down, by the way. There was a little bit of a mistake here, but this is ace. This is really ace. I can't believe it. It's also quite funny hearing you map every single sector. Oh my God, it's come down again.
Absolutely. It's the only thing that's telling me we're going to get a grandstand finish, is that. And it's 3.6 now, so Boothby is maybe just trying to collect himself after what was clearly some kind of mistake. And Tan, it's not out of the realms of possibility. We've seen plenty of incidents in this 80-minute race. And if Boothby and Osterman just start to fight, a 5-second penalty can easily be claimed and overthrown and cleared if the two of them come together.
Exactly that, yeah. You know, if they end up off the circuit, which we've seen many, many a time, then of course we might see Dylan Tan do the impossible. What about Wasner? Wasner's 12.5 seconds off, but we've just been told, yeah, very, very calmly from Teo, who is managing all of this, that the blue flags and the traffic, of course, that is a factor, but the fluctuation of time is quite remarkable, and I think nerves are definitely going to be coming to this as well. So there we go. We're on board with Lewis Rotters, who is a bit further back. He was leading this race at one point earlier on, but now finds himself in P16.
Yeah, Rotters will be quite upset, I imagine, with how this race has unfolded. Could have easily been in with a shout of winning this race. But as you say, still circulating, still finishing this race, which is respectable. But it will be 16th and no higher by the looks of things. We're now under 10 minutes to go. And we're looking at Maulana in 6th place at the moment, right behind Caracas. Has that position technically after it finishes, but will want to get through as well, I'm sure. 3.2 seconds, the gap between Boothby and Osterman again. So it's coming back down. But I wonder if that mistake that Boothby made might just have given Osterman enough of a gap with not a lot of time remaining.
Your favourite thing just happened, though. It's gone down by 0.2 of a second in the last sector, so it's now 3 seconds. The gap is absolutely coming down. And I'm just not sure there's enough time, but I said that earlier on, and then instantly they lost about 1.5 seconds. So it's anyone's guess as to what's exactly going to happen here. But all I can tell you is don't go anywhere, chat. This could be an absolute grandstand finish. You don't want to miss it.
We're looking a bit further back. Derbycourt, 12th position now, has lost touch with Honzik, who he's been battling with throughout the race. Foch is now not too far behind in 13th, but Lorito still clear in that class, up in 9th, doing a great job. Now a little bit further back than that, Lentes, 20th position, currently holding a 5-second penalty as they head into Acqua Minerale, and 2.8 now, keeping an eye on those intervals, 8 minutes to go, and I just wonder if it's not coming down enough now. Maybe Osterman was in some fuel-saving in a fuel-saving mode, and now has saved enough that he can just push a little bit more now, because it's not coming down as quickly as it was a little bit earlier.
Yeah, well, it's come down 0.2 of a second, so it is coming down. I think that's probably the main factor. I think they've kind of nailed all of the traffic that they were having to deal with, so now it becomes a little bit more difficult for Boothby, but Boothby is 100% faster at this point in the race. Regardless of traffic, he is faster. That is the fact in the matter. There's not a big difference between their pit stop timing, but Boothby will have the better tyres, so the longer this race goes on, of course, that will come into fruition a little bit more. Gap now 2.9 seconds. Osterman looks like he's kind of figured it out a little bit here, and he's hanging on.
Certainly is, but anything can happen. We've seen that lead slip away very quickly, just through one mistake. Glad to see the cars on the right there. That is the chasing pack, trying to close in on Osterman. On the left, we have Derbycourt and Bouquet fighting for just outside the top 10, and down to 2.9. So let's see what we get when we come over the line. 6 minutes and 50 seconds remaining in this race. Hardly anything at all. I'm very interested. 2.9 once again. So Osterman has just calmed it down a little bit. He heard us getting excited, Luke, and went, I was only teasing, we're all good.
I want to give a shout out to the chat, by the way, because they've not only been, talking amongst themselves, but they've been genuinely getting involved and trying to figure out what's going to happen in this race as well. Just like me, I like to kind of investigate races and try and figure out what's going to happen before it happens. But the chat have really, really got involved today. And yeah, well done, everybody. And again, maybe this is the first of many, but you've really come out in your droves today. So well done, everybody. I'm especially talking about the Twitch chat, because that's what I'm looking at. So yeah, fair play. Hopefully you've enjoyed yourselves.
And don't forget, if you want to win a Thrustmaster T818 wheel with custom plates, then all you need to do is ! giveaway in the chat if you haven't already, or scan the QR code on screen. Luke will run you through all of the ways of using that QR code, I'm sure, but I'll let him explain that. And you can be in with a chance, and it will be drawn at the end of this stream. So you've not got much time left. So get involved, ! giveaway, or scan the QR code, which has actually just gone away now. So use ! giveaway.
Yeah, we're going to be drawing that very, very shortly. We've only got 5 minutes left of this race, got some interviews, and then we're going to be drawing our giveaway winners. So make sure you get yourself involved. Right, Osterman leading the way, 2.6 seconds clear of George Boothby. That gap has been coming down. It was at 1.7.4, and it's come down to 2.6 after the pit stop there. Lillian Derbycourt trying to make a move there on Bouquet. Didn't quite work out. The outside line around Tosa is very difficult to make stick. We then go a little bit further behind our front two. 5-second penalty for Dylan Tan, who is absolutely flying, by the way, and is with Boothby, but not maybe as quick as Boothby, because Boothby's just taken, what, 0.6 of a second out of our race leader. It is not over here, Matt. I know how excited you are about that gap coming down, so I'll hand back over to you.
Very excited, but I think it was actually Osterman catching that back marker there of that Porsche, and well, did Boothby clear the car a bit quicker than perhaps Osterman did? There's another driver getting out of the way. Boothby was saying thank you very much, and it is still around the 2.3 second mark, and it's just tantalizingly close, but not close enough at the moment. How many more cars will Osterman have to negotiate between now and the end of the race?
Oh, he will be puckering, that is for sure, his old Osterman, because again, this is worth 1,250 euros. That is a decent chunk of change. Just thinking, you could buy all sorts. You could buy like 3 Freddos for that these days. That is a lot of Freddos. It's a lot of prize money. And the last thing you want to do is lose position, because you lose 750 of those euros. It's only 500 for second spot. I say only 500, it's a great thing to win, but when you had 1,250 in your hands, you feel like you've probably lost money at this stage of the race. So Osterman just got to keep it on the straight and narrow, not make any silly errors, not try and push too much, and hopefully he doesn't have to deal with too many more back markers. But as it stands, with what, 3 minutes 30 seconds on the clock, it's looking very good for Jacob Osterman.
It really is. We're running on board with Boothby on the right-hand side there. And, well, we actually lost a couple of tenths to Osterman. You can see a 40.2 for Osterman, a 40.4 for Boothby. Same for Tan, running in third position. And you can see, just resting the car there. Love to see these onboards of these drivers that are so utterly talented, and the way in which they go around this Imola circuit, and just the way that they just slide the car. They don't even do it with the steering wheel sometimes. It's just the way they use the brakes is utterly mesmerizing. And Boothby is trying desperately to close in, and there might be one or two more cars for Osterman to get through between now and the end of this race. And will they throw one final curveball into this Thrustmaster GT race?
Well, I'm sure that there'll be something that they'll have to negotiate, that's for certain. But we are on board here on the right-hand side of our screen. We're on board with P2, and to the left-hand side, we're on board with Debacor, who's currently P12. You can see that the gap, you can see the car in front of Boothby. The leader is just up there, coming through Variante Alta. So not far between the two of them at all. But, as Matt mentioned earlier, the once great, or the master, the legend of Murray Walker, one thing catching is quite another person.
Certainly is. I think Tan showed that as well, because Tan was probably the quickest of the three of them. And as much as he's caught Boothby, he's not even had one moment to try and get through. So, but then Tan doesn't really need to, unless he was really flying out there and believed he could extend that 5-second gap. Osterman clears that back marker nicely. No time lost whatsoever there. And that is some more fighting. Congratel involved in another bit of door bashing. We love to see it.
Yeah, Congratel. If you want action, guys, just go on board with Congratel. He is always involved, or something's happening around him. As we've got Lenta Siggy's got a DNF. So they were racing earlier on, had a penalty, and ultimately it's ended up being a DNF. As we again look at Congratel coming up towards the start-finish line. 1 minute 13 seconds left on the clock. Where is Osterman in all of this? I think we're going to have one more lap remaining after this one, so we are going to be on the final lap next time around. As you can see here, Dylan Tan does have that 5-second penalty, but it's very much there up the rear diffuser of George Boothby, keeping him very honest indeed as well. As much as Boothby could just let Dylan Tan go, it would basically mean he's not going to catch up to Osterman, so he's got to try and keep Tan behind him. So it's not ideal for Boothby, but I think with one lap to go, Osterman has this now in the bag.
Oh, you've said it. Okay, let's hope for Osterman's sake that nothing goes wrong in this final lap. 30 seconds to go, which, yeah, I think your estimations are just about right. We're going to get one more after this. 2.5 seconds the gap between Osterman and Boothby. It looked like it was slipping away from Osterman, but he has calmed the ship, and you can see the two drivers behind trying to chase him down. As, yeah, look at that, 10 seconds to go. Can't slow down, unfortunately, because he's got two drivers right behind.
Yeah, I always ask that question. If you've got enough time to slow down and make it sure it's the last lap, would you? But there's not enough gap between him and P2 as it stands to do that. So, yeah, you won't be seeing that. We've actually had a couple of nice comments in the chat, people saying they've really enjoyed our commentary, Matt, which is always nice. But are you forgetting you're watching on Twitch? You're supposed to be mean to people in the chat on Twitch. There's no such thing as nice things. What is going on here? But no, we really do appreciate it. So, yeah, again, hopefully you all sat at home have really enjoyed this.
That's been thoroughly enjoyable. Thank you, Twitch chat, and thank you to everybody for tuning into this. It's been chaos, just as we kind of predicted. A great chaos. And, yeah, there's a few drivers out there that have certainly helped towards the amount of action that we've seen. So thank you to them as well. But, yes, here we have Jakob Osterman, who you predicted, Luke. You did it. You said, look, you can't write this guy out. He knows how to build a race. And he certainly has. Some drivers have fallen at the first hurdle. Some have got involved in incidents later on. But Osterman looks to be the winner of this Thrustmaster GT race.
Yeah, certainly wasn't cut and dry though by any stretch of the imagination, was it? It's been an absolute grueler for anybody that's involved in this race to be up in the lead at this stage. He really has had to work very, very hard indeed, but it's now a couple of corners away for Jakob Osterman. Started third on the grid, had a teammate to work with Rotters at the start, and while you thought they were going to work together, ultimately they were actually battling as hard as they would with any other driver on the grid. But since Osterman's got into the lead, he hasn't really looked back. He got catched up a little bit by George Boothby after the pit stop phase, but as he crosses the line, he will be the first ever Thrustmaster GT Race winner. Congratulations to the ITB driver as he flashes those lights across the line. Boothby will finish in second. Dylan Tan will get third, of course, because of that 5-second penalty. Wasner is going to finish in fourth spot. Caracas will cross the line in fifth, but he's got a 10-second penalty, so he's going to drop down into sixth position. Then we've got Congratel, who has given us some action aplenty across this race. He will finish in seventh. Narkle is going to finish in eighth. And then the first of our content creators, Amos Lorito, who was probably the favourite to win in the race, has absolutely gone out there and delivered. Oh, Matt, what a race.
What a race indeed. Yeah, big congratulations to Osterman, Boothby and Tan, getting those top three positions in the pro class. And then, of course, Lorito, who has just come over the line to win the content creator class. Congratulations to him. Looks like it'll be Foch in P2 and then Samson in third place. In fact, he has actually already crossed the line. So, yeah, fascinating stuff. Absolutely love that. Great to see a mixture of pro drivers and content creators, some of them mixing it, Lorito and Foch, and Samson mixing it with the pro drivers, as there is Foch actually just about coming over the line. And a couple of cars to come over and finish, actually Lowe being the last one. And yeah, Luke, how would you summarise that race?
Well, considering it was a sort of a community event put together by Thrustmaster, you know, it's with two different types of classes, effectively with the content creators and the pros. I didn't really know what to expect, but we got everything. The fact that there's money involved and there's prizes involved means that people have to take chances. As much as a 80-minute race is quite long, you know, in terms of, you know, for us as commentators, for this game that's based on an endurance series, it is a very, very short format, so they have to take chances. We've seen penalties aplenty. We've seen strategy aplenty. It has been a very, very nice event, and I'm sure that everybody at home has also enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure the drivers, there'll be a few of them that are a little bit disheartened with it, with being involved in incidents, but I think for the most part, everybody's got to be pretty happy with that. I certainly enjoyed being a part of it.
And I did as well. I think that the strategy element was something that perhaps we didn't expect to see that much because it was quite open and we thought everyone would kind of go on a similar sort of level. But Tan, I think, showed that there were some opportunities to go really long in that first stint, then go on the aggressive at the end. And I know that he'll probably be kicking himself for that 5-second penalty, but we did have quite an exciting finish, despite not the 3 wide we maybe expected.
100%, but we also saw Grantas Caracas try something. He tried to do the no tire. Yeah, he tried to you know, get track position, and he did. He was in the lead of the race, but ultimately it was very short-lived, and then it was very difficult for him to defend, and was involved in a few incidents and got a few penalties. But it was nice to see people trying to gain track advantage or track position. But yeah, Jakob Osterman, he was the one to beat. As soon as he got into the lead at the start of this race, he kind of controlled it. There were some trials and tribulations. I think the real cool factor is because the slower content creators are quite far off of the pro pace, which is to be expected, of course. So there's not me throwing shade on anybody. It means in the latter stages of the race, we're seeing the gaps come down at the front because they're having to deal with back markers in awful parts of the track. They can't just disappear. So that is another factor as well, which is really, really fun.
It really was. Big thanks to every single driver that got involved, and of course to you watching at home. We will have the results coming up very shortly, as well as the giveaway winner. So look forward to that one. Who would you say is your driver of the day, Luke, if you could pick one? Maybe for both classes, actually. That might be a good way of doing it.
Obviously, it's very difficult to look past Lorito and Congratel. Sorry, not Con. I was going to say Congratel.
You thought Congratel, you're like, yeah. Action. Yeah, he gave us action.
But Congratel would be my driver of the day just because of the action he's given me personally. I thought it was amazing that he was just always involved in something, was used as a bit of a battering ram at some points, but was still, even on the last couple of laps, battling for position. So gave it his all. So for me, Congratel was my driver of the day.
Absolutely. I was going to say it as well. Action driver of the day. Absolutely. And I'm sure that Conquertail, probably of all of them, just getting out the sim rig going, okay, that was big. Now we can go to the leaderboard from the pro drivers. So let's see how they finished. Take us through it, Luke.
Well, there you go. There is the official ruling then. So Jakob Osterman is your race winner. George Boothby threw everything at him to try and win it, but unfortunately comes up a little bit short. But again, 500 euros in his back pocket. Not a bad day in the office. Dylan Tan is going to pick up third position and 250 euros. And then we have Sasha Wasner, who was battling for 7th position with Grantas Caracas for the first hour of this race, but still manages to finish in 4th. So really nice from Wasner. We then have Maulana in 5th. Grantas Caracas, who had that 10-second penalty, drops him down to 6th. Lucas Congratel, who is my driver of the day, finishes in 7th position. Sammy Joe Abbey Narkle finishes in 8th position. Then we've got Honzik, who finishes in 9th spot. Bouquet in 10th. We've then got Debacour in 11th position. Harteveld in 12th. We've then got Batista, Jimenez in 13th. Rottes in 14th. We've then got Masoud in 15th and Pfeffer in 16th. I will say, if I've got any of your names wrong, you're going to need to send a nice email to your parents to tell them now how it should be pronounced, how I've just said it.
Love that, Luke. Thank you so much. We now have Jakob Osterman on the line to speak to the winner of the pro driver category. Can I speak to you, Jakob? Can you hear us?
Oh.
Hello, Jakob. Congratulations on winning the Thrustmaster GT race. Firstly, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I mean, sadly, it's a win with a bit of a side piece because, yeah, it could have been a 1-2 with Lewis. That would have been like the best case. It would have been mega to win such a popular race together with your teammate in P1 and P2. But yeah, it turned out that that couldn't be the case today. So also with P1, I'm really happy. It was a perfect race. The second half of the race, especially after the pit stop, it was just mentally so hard because I was on 3 warnings since like 1 hour to go. And that was like pushing without getting a cut and hoping that George doesn't catch me and that I don't get a warning. So yeah, I'm really happy it turned out to be good and we won. So yeah, thanks to ITB for getting me into this race. And of course, I need to also mention Amadeo Castorino. Thanks to him, who helped me with the Aston Martin setup because I literally had no clue about that car yesterday. So huge thanks to him. Yeah, it was such a great race. Thanks for inviting us. I hope we can be there the next time as well.
Well, first of all, congratulations, mate. Really, really good performance. Last time I commentated on you, you were really good in your first stint, and then you had a little bit of an issue where you spun in the pit lane, if you remember, at Kyle Army. So it's nice to see that I had to bring it up, man. But it's nice to see you manage to go through a pit stop and still come out in the lead and manage to win the race. So you must be on top of the moon. But how hard was it to deal with the backmark traffic in the second stint?
It was actually fine. Most of the drivers were just getting out of the way. That worked out to be pretty good. Some drivers, yeah, it was a bit harder to overtake them, but yeah, we managed to get through there. In the end, it was just, do I get good through the traffic? Does George lose a bit of time there? And at one point, George lost the second in traffic, and I was like 4 seconds in front of him again, with not many laps to go. And from there on, I knew just don't do a mistake, don't get a cut, and we would have that win. I'm
Luke,
really happy.
I'm glad you're very happy. Luke was saying that, you know, perhaps he'd use the prize money to buy some Freddos. What are you going to spend the winnings on? Have you got anything in mind?
Not yet, to be fair. We will see. Maybe I will save it back with some racing money I'm saving right now. So yeah, it's a great addition to my bank account. I'm looking forward to receive it.
Love that. Well done, Jakob Osterman. You are the winner of the pro driver category, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you. Have a great night. See ya.
Amazing stuff. Well, there you go. There is Jakob Osterman, who winner. We thought maybe he was coming under some pressure there, Luke, but he managed to withstand it. He's saying about how the back markers could be quite difficult. That's exactly what me and you would be in that particular situation, should we have been racing. But he managed it just about right.
Yeah, there's so many more aspects to racing It's not just about, you know, whether you're the fastest out there. It's about negotiating the potential issues with back markers. You know, there might even be faster drivers that are out of position because they've been involved in incidents. You've got to deal with them. But then you've also got to negotiate drivers that are just as fast as you, and just make sure that you get to the finish first and foremost. And he did just that. Ultimately, you know, you were getting very excited. I was getting very excited at that gap coming down. But once it comes to the crunch, he had a similar pace to Boothby. He may have got a bit more unfortunate with the traffic than Boothby, but he did enough and he held on.
Let's take a look now at the content creator part of the race and the finishing results for that, Luke.
Yeah, our favourite coming into this was Amos Lorito with Samir Foch, I would say, but they finished P1 and indeed P2. I'm not sure that's right, actually, because Siggy Lentes was a DNF, so I would imagine that might be changed there. So yeah, that I think David Sampson was in P3. So the front two are right, but the rest of it not so much.
Well, congratulations to Amos Lorito, who I believe is on the line. Amos, can you hear us? Hello, congratulations. Well done. You won the content creator class. How are you feeling? Was that as tough a race as it looked for commentating it?
Honestly, I'm feeling really happy because it was a really interesting race. I didn't wanna fight with the pro drivers, but I had to sometimes. So then I managed to don't do stupid thing on the pit stop, and everything went well. I did my fastest lap at the end of the race. I was just joking with the chat on Twitch, so really happy, to be honest, to be on P1.
Well, congratulations, mate. A really flawless display there from you. You were the favourite coming into this for me, and you backed it up superbly well. What was the hardest aspect of this race for you?
Honestly, the start, because as a AM category, honestly, I'm not on this game anymore. I just did I had some good battle and good championship event back on 2021, 2022. So I just saw this event, saw the invite, and thanks Thrustmaster obviously for this invite. And the start was obviously one of the thing that I was most looking for, because I was scared because of a lot of pro drivers here with me, near to me, and I just didn't want to lose time and didn't want to crash into someone. But I managed also to do some nice overtake, to be honest, on Rivazza Uno. I can say that I was on fire with this Aston Martin today, and in Italy I'm Italian. Here in Italy, I needed to do a good race.
I absolutely love that. Question from me, Amos, is of course it was yourself and Foch pretty much the fastest two in your content creator class. How aware were you of his sort of position in the race, and how much were you monitoring it, or were you very much just focusing on your own race? Because it was within 5 seconds for quite a long time.
Yes. I was nervous because of the first part of the race with the chaos in front. Honestly, there was a lot of fight. Then I had a problem on the pit. I think that I just missed the point. I lost 5-6 seconds, and I come back after the pit with 3 seconds of gap. So yeah. I was faster. I saw that I was faster than him. It was also a bit a shock. I know that the Aston Martin was really fast, but Samir is a really great driver, and I really respect him. So I just managed it after the chaos at the start, and after I think Pfeffer did a mistake or had a problem, and I have also some fight with Ferrari 296. I don't know which was the driver. Then I did a little mistake. I made a little mistake on the Villeneuve chicane, and I said, okay, pass and don't disturb me. I need to finish in P1.
We were talking about this and how you didn't really want to be involved in the pro driver category, but your pace put you there. And so you were very much involved in all of that fighting. But Amos, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on winning the content creator class.
Thank you very much. See you soon, guys.
Well,
Cheers. Take care. Well, there you go. There's Amos Lorito, the winner of the content creators. And yeah, he was almost too good, and it caused him more problems in the race.
Yeah, he was. He was very, very good indeed. And his chat have just appeared in the Twitch chat here. We've Love 46's audience have popped in here. I think she may have raided the chat. We also have Congratel. Lucas Congratel's in the chat here as well, who got my driver of the day vote and Matt's as well. So congratulations to you, Congratel. I'm not sure there's a prize for that, mate, but yeah, you can sleep easily. You gave us a lot of entertainment. But
apparently,
yeah,
there's still an opportunity if you do want to win a prize to ! giveaway or scan the QR code on screen right now to win a Thrustmaster T818 wheel with custom plates. So get it. We've got 2 minutes. I've been told we've got 2 minutes. ! Giveaway or scan the QR code. Luke's getting involved, as you can see there, and you could potentially win a Thrustmaster, a personalized Thrustmaster T818 wheel. All you have to do, ! giveaway, and follow the instructions. You have 2 minutes, okay? And that means we have 2 minutes to talk about this race, Luke, as well. So what would be your highlight moment?
Maybe we could show the actual wheel off that they could win. That might be a good idea.
I mean, that would also work. Can we do that, producers?
Yeah.
Can we just roll the wheel? Because that would be quite good. There you go. That's the wheel. That's the giveaway screen, in fact. And we've been told very excitingly we can tell them when to press and end the giveaway. So we have the power, Luke.
No, I'm joking, guys. You've got a few minutes. ! Giveaway. Make sure you scan the QR code, and you can win yourself that wheel there. And again, they're going to click the button at some point, and then we will know who exactly has won. But yeah, talking about the event, Matt, you're right. It's been fun. Like, it's the first time that Thrustmaster have put an event on like this. And hopefully the audience at home, hopefully the drivers have enjoyed being a part of it. And, maybe this is the first of many. I would absolutely love to be involved in more of these events. It's just fun. Like, as much as there is money on the line and there's prizes on the line, which normally makes things like ultra serious and, everyone's all on edge, I just think this had a bit of a different feel to it. It just felt like a really fun event, and that people have kind of raced with that intent.
It certainly did. It certainly did, Luke. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And I have just been told now that we can end the giveaway and announce the winner. So on the count of 3, here we go. 3, 2, 1, end the giveaway.
So much power, Matt.
Wow. The winner, Hamza Hussein.
Oh, no.
No, sorry, Luke. I'm sorry, mate. Unless you've changed your name. That is not you. Hamza Hussein, you have won a Thrustmaster T818 wheel. Congratulations. You will be contacted by Thrustmaster for all the details of how to be sent that. Congratulations to Hamza. That was, that's one way to end a stream and watch. You've just been having fun watching a race, and now you've won yourself a glorious wheel. That's a pretty good way to end, isn't it, Luke?
I will say one thing. If you really want to maybe see this happen again, you should spam Thrustmaster on all of the social media. Just spam them. We want to see this again. Make the admin annoyed with how many tweets or how many Instagram messages they're getting, and tell them how much you enjoyed it.
Because we certainly enjoyed it. Let everybody know, as Luke says, just how much you've loved this Thrustmaster GT race. I certainly have. Luke, what would be your final closing thoughts?
Yeah, everyone just have fun. I had fun. The chat had fun. That's pretty much it. This is what this event is about. It's just about having a bit of fun, and ultimately that is what it's given you. So yeah, that's my final thoughts. Fun.
Love that. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. And we may see you another time if you spam Thrustmaster enough to say you had a great time watching for another Thrustmaster GT race. Until then, see you soon.